It's time for Twit This Week at Tech. We are going to have a great show. I just know it. Victoria's Song is here from The Verge, and it's the return of Christina Warren. She's now back at GitHub. We're going to talk about counting Renaissance butts in Rome with a Meta Ray-Ban display. Disney and YouTube TV finally make a deal. And where's Tim Cook going? Is he ready to retire? All that and more coming up next on Twit.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 1058, recorded Sunday, November 16th, 2025. Furry little potatoes. It's time for Twit, This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the week's tech news, and we've been sitting here for half an hour chatting, and I forgot to press the record button, so maybe we better begin the show. This is going to be one of those shows. It's going to be so much fun. Victoria's Song is back. She was so great the last time you were on. I'm so glad we could get you back. Senior reviewer at The Verge. She's back from Rome with her Meta display glasses. We got lots to talk about. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And someone we have missed desperately. She disappeared into the maw of Google, into the maw of DeepMind, and was incognito for a year, but she's back. I saw your post, Christina Warren, at GitHub Universe. I said, what? And we immediately contacted you. Welcome back to
Thank
the,
you so
to the
much.
living.
Thank you so much. No, that was so nice of you because I didn't want to make a big deal about job announcements if it wasn't one of those things that was necessary, but I wanted to let people know I was at Universe, and people picked up on it, which was great to see. And you always have this story.
Some very nice Crocs you were wearing.
I did. I had the Windows XP Crocs, and I was wearing a Zune T-shirt, and just going all out. Yeah, no, it was a good fit. It was a really, really good day two fit. Like day one, I was all looking like sleek and like professional, and the day two I was like, no, we're gonna do the Zune T-shirt and the Windows XP limited edition Crocs, which are so good.
So those weren't hand painted; they actually sold those.
No, they actually made for the 50th anniversary, I guess, of Microsoft. An employee, shout out to Barry Doran's Blow Dart, who got them for me because they were only available in the employee store, and it's an official collab that they did. Like they made like the bag that looks like the background, and then like the little whatever they call them, the kibitz or whatever. I've never worn Crocs.
The charms.
Gibbets. Thank you, the charms. Thank you. I've never worn Crocs before.
Wait a minute, are they called gibbets?
Gibbets.
Yeah,
Gibbets? That's what they call them?
I've never worn Crocs.
BBTS or something like that.
Something like that, or Z or something. I don't know.
Hello, Kitty.
I've literally never worn Crocs except for that day. And but they had like Clippy and the recycle bin and a couple of other like Internet Explorer and a couple of other like icons on them.
So good.
So good. Like genuinely, and everybody loved them obviously because it's hilarious. So I have a rule to never wear plastic shoes, but I made an exception for these Crocs. So thank you, Barry, for getting them for me.
They were really, really awesome. What's your kitty's name, Victoria?
This is Petey. He is
Hi,
a menace.
Petey the menace. Cats know when you're on a podcast and they immediately jump into the frame.
do. He was
understand
napping. He was napping
So
downstairs.
What? Here's
and
my
then
chance.
And then
I'm on
he
a
realized
podcast.
that I wasn't there. And anytime I sit at this desk, he requires a 15-minute session of attention until I pick him up and he agrees to sit in the desk bed. And eventually he goes to nap there, but like he might just want to be involved for a little bit. Petey.
It's quite all right. We don't need to exile him to desk bed. He can be part of the show as long as you don't mind. I don't mind.
I don't mind as long as he doesn't eat my mic. Sir, do you have anything to say? No, he doesn't have anything to say.
I had a whole agenda of stories to talk about. We'll get to those, but Christina really wanted to know what it was like going to Rome with a Meta display Meta Ray. What do they call them? Ray-Ban display glasses.
So they call them the Meta Ray-Ban display, unlike the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, because why are we just messing up the naming convention? I don't know. But
this is the one with the little kind of heads-up display in the lower right-hand lens.
Yes,
right?
yes, there is. And so, it does some things, like it notifies you when you have a text message. You can take photos and video with it and actually frame the shot within the lens, which is really great because
the old Meta Ray-Bans, you didn't know what you were taking a picture of.
No, you didn't know what you're taking a picture of. That's how I learned. I tilt my head a lot because all of my photos were Dutch angle, unintentionally so. And, you can text message with it via WhatsApp. Like all the Meta apps are on there. You can watch an Instagram reel from your DMs because sure, why not? But I think the interesting features for me were the fact that you can get live captions and translations and see them in real time.
You're in Italy. Perfect.
Yeah, you'd think. Well, we'll get to that part. But and then also you can get walking directions. And I was surprised, but the walking directions actually came in super clutch because crossing the street in Italy is a never-ending game of Frogger. You will die if you're not paying attention to where you're going. And the times where the glasses would run out of battery, I would be like, "Oh no, this is this is
the trouble with depending on technology, that when it doesn't work, now you're really I have that problem with GPS. I can't find my way out of a paper bag anymore because I'm so reliant on GPS.
It's a problem. But we were walking to the Vatican in order to get to the Sistine Chapel, and the directions are really great. There was only one time where we were kind of like turned around.
My wife is so mad at me because I made her walk like a mile in the wrong direction and realized, oh, wait a minute, it's that way. And we had to turn around, and she was so mad at me. But as a result, we saw where the Forum, which is kind of not in where Caesar was murdered. You don't expect it. It's like lower below ground, and it's where the cats of Rome live.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I was upset because I didn't get to see that.
It's really cool. Yeah.
I'm a big cat person, so yeah.
Well, I'm a big Caesar fan, so it
works out. It works out. But yeah. And
Rome would be a great place to wear those. I think that was kind of a natural place to wear them.
Yeah, I found that, in my day-to-day life, it was really hard to incorporate the features that are cool because when I'm walking around my neighborhood, I don't really need walking directions because one, if I'm in Hackensack, Jersey, I'm in a car. I'm not going to use these glasses in a car. And if I'm walking around New York, it's a grid system. So
why wouldn't you use them in a car? Do they block your view?
I just don't think you want that kind of distraction. So in the car, like in the car, you can just turn on audio only mode if you do want to use them. But
the audio is really good. I have the old Ray-Bans. The audio is very good on those.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I think that the new ones, when they get smaller, will be something that.
So Victoria,
they are quite big.
Yeah.
Christina, you were interested because were you tempted, as I was, to buy the display version?
No, because of the size. Strictly because of the size. They're pretty big, and I have the regular Ray-Bans work fine. But when I got the clear version last year, those were too big on my face, even though they were like the standard size. And so for me, like,
we have opposite problems. My glasses, mine are always too small for my giant moon face.
So the display have hinges that like kind of fold out.
Oh.
So it helps people with wider faces, but
still, the glasses would be narrow on your head, and I don't like.
They're quite large. I don't have them on me now because our video team is filming with them at the moment, but they're quite large on my face. My spouse was just like, he looked at me and he was like, "No, absolutely not."
Do you look
don't
nerdy?
Love it.
What do you look like?
You can check the review out. There's tons of pictures of me in the review.
Great.
I thought you looked honestly like you looked better than I did. Like what I always remember, I waited in line for 5 hours like an idiot for the original Snapchat spectacles outside of a pop-up in New York City.
That.
It was it's probably one of my favorite blogs that I've ever done. And they looked so huge on my face, and it's amazing like how in like 8 years, how poor those were just in terms of like what the capabilities were, how they looked and whatnot. Now, like with the regular, Ray-Ban collection stuff, they look almost identical to regular sunglasses.
Yeah.
And then even these, the display, which are very impressive. Like I said, I was not tempted just because I wouldn't wear them. Like if they're going to look bad on my face, then I'm too vain. I'm sorry. But
the temple pieces are pretty thick. I'm looking at your picture
they're
on the
quite
Verge
thick.
right now. They're pretty thick.
they are, but you can see where they're going to go. That's the thing that excites me. Like you see that like in a generation or two, these are going to become smaller.
Are they though? I mean, this is a technological challenge to get battery life, and all that
Battery life
intelligence in there and all of that.
The battery life is what I'll say is the biggest, weakest point besides the size, is that, when I'm using it in a heavy circumstance, like I went to a car show with my spouse, and again, here I was trying to test the AI. So I'm at a car show and I'm just screaming at every car, "What model car is this?" And moving on, and everyone thinks I'm crazy.
I love this.
But
This is what people would do when the first Bluetooth headsets came out. Everybody thought, "Why is he talking to himself as he's striding down the street?"
So
no, it's the glasses you're talking to.
I have the wristband. I'm like tapping, and so I look like a crazy person going like, "What car is this?" Just yelling at them.
Could you type? It looked like Mark was typing with his fingers.
So
Can you?
One of the features that'll come out later, and I did get a demo of it, is you'll be able to like put it on a flat surface and like write. Like if you're handwriting, like
that's
trace
interesting.
things and type. It was actually pretty good when I tried it out.
It's doing a lot of predictive stuff, right? So you do the first letter or two, and then you say,
So-
"Okay, that's it."
The neural band is actually one of the coolest things about it because it works quite seamlessly. So if you are familiar with the gestures on the Apple Watch or other smartwatches, it's going to be really familiar to you, but it's pretty seamless. Like it is very cool that if you want to like turn the volume up, you just pinch and turn like you're turning a dial. That's
How was
quite
simultaneous translation?
not that great in Italy, just because it's directional. So it's the same thing with the live captions. And when I was testing it, if you are in a one-on-one setting, even if it's a little noisy out there, if you're in a one-on-one setting, like at a restaurant, and you're talking to someone and you're just looking at them the entire time, it can be quite good. It doesn't do slang well, but that's all AI transcription, I think. But it's quite good at getting the gist across. Now, if you're walking out and about, like you might be as a tourist, and there's a lot of Italians yelling in the vicinity around you, you're going to have a hard time because it doesn't know who necessarily to translate because it's going to prioritize who you're looking at. So if you are just trying to get an announcement translated, well, good luck. Like where is the person you're talking to where the announcement is coming? You'll have to find the speaker and stand under it and look at the speaker. So it's not quite practical in that sense. But so that was that limitation really for translating in Italian, getting that done. And then also they don't have glasses, so they can't understand what you're saying back. So you have to pull out a thing and be like, here you go. And my in-laws are very extroverted Americans, so they would just not even let me try to do that. They would just be like, "Do you speak English?" And then switch to English, and it would be like, "Oh, okay. Well, there's no opportunity there then to try that." But so I found that translation stuff, if you're one-on-one and let's say you're like living abroad for a while and you're trying to make new friends and you're having a one-on-one friend date at a coffee shop like a lot of expats do, I think that could be really useful for you. But if you're a tourist, one, everyone's going to talk to you in English anyway.
Right.
Two, it can be a little clunky because then you have to like bring it out and be like, "This is what I'm using
It's
it
also
for."
slow, right? It's not in real time
it's
exactly.
It's decent, but there's slightly a bit of a lag with any translation tech. And I brought like standalone translator tech things to test out while I was there too. And there was only one instance where I felt like it was a good opportunity to do it. And that was when we were on a train and a Chinese grandma came up to me because I was the only other Asian person on this train. And so she's like, "Ha, do you speak Chinese?" And I was like, "No, I'm American." And so we used her little translator.
Fun.
Device there, and that worked out pretty great. But so for translation, very certain circumstances.
It's a
only.
very early days in this stuff, though. I mean,
It is.
I think
the walking directions was the absolute best use case of it. If Italian museums would install Wi-Fi. I think it could be a good thing to have the AI identify a piece of artwork for you if an audio guide is broken. Yeah, but I went to the Vatican museums. I went to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. No Wi-Fi at either of these museums. I was just like, I would love to know about this painting, but alas.
And how was your cellular? I'm just curious how your cellular connection was. I know you didn't have Wi-Fi, but I was just curious. Like, was like 5G or LTE decent enough? Because when I was there wasn't a lot of ultra wideband, but LTE was fast enough. I'm curious if that would have been enough to keep up.
Yeah, so I did have T-Mobile's international data plan. Not enough gigs, but it was good enough when I was out and about and I could have a strong signal, but I don't know what it is about these Italian buildings that block out any
they're made
signal.
I was going to say they're thousands of years old. I think that's the problem, right? Like it's kind of like New York runs into that a little bit too because some of the buildings are so old, and so you have some of the connectivity problems. Seattle does not have that problem because we don't have culture, but yeah. So
what do you mean you don't have culture?
I mean, we don't, but newer cities don't have some of the same problems that way. But yeah, I imagine it's probably the age of some of the buildings. But I was just curious because that is going to have to be a thing eventually if these things take off. Because I could see that if they want them to take off, right? Like in some of these areas, because I could see if these things get adopted more, the museum community and whatnot really wanting to embrace them and maybe even make their own apps or other things for this.
Or just like opera houses, you could have translations for foreign
You could have
operas.
the super titles on the glasses instead of on the screen.
So it was a situation where I was like, oh, you know what? These glasses are actually great in situations where I can put them on for a specific purpose and then take them off, because then I don't have any of the weird cultural qualms or... Because in my daily life, when I wear them, I feel like a little gross, like a little super spy, having capabilities that people don't know that I have. And a thing that came up a couple of times was when I would be looking at the screens, people would be like, what are you looking at right now? Because they can't see the screen, but they can really see that I'm not engaged in a certain way. I have like a very dead eye stare. And when I would demo the tech for my coworkers or some friends and I would see them do it, I was like, oh, this is horrible. So if you can just imagine, like right now, you try to have a family dinner or you're on a date and everyone's on their phones. And, usually there's that one friend that's just like, okay, everybody, can we get off our phones? Can we be like present in the moment? And if you can just imagine the dystopia of you're on a first date and are you swiping on Tinder right now? What's going on?
Or worse, are you looking me up, right? Like, are you like, because that would be my concern. I'd be like, okay, because you've probably already done some retcon, but now you're there in person. You're like, okay, am I taking photos? Am I like doing other stuff? Am I scrolling through your social media? Like, what's going on?
That makes sense though. That's one of the big advantages of it.
Yes,
but it's also weird.
Right. I was going to say it's both, right?
Or what?
I was going to say, because on one hand, it sounds kind of great. On the other hand, you're like, no, this is stuff I think to your point, Victoria, like that other people don't know you have these capabilities, right? Yeah. I think
soon we all will. With AI, AI is going to be embedded everywhere. We're going to all know everything about everybody we meet. It's going to be creepy.
I mean, it's already creepy.
It feels weird because, sometimes you're on. So a really good example is in my review on The Verge. If you scroll all the way down where I talk to the cultural and privacy implications, I have a video that I uploaded. And what was happening is I was in a florist coffee shop, one of those hybrid things. And I was trying to zoom out and taking a video because I was like, oh, this will be great footage, blah, 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 blah. And what I don't notice is that the cashier is trying to talk to me. And she can't tell. She's just like, hi, can I help you? And I'm just not listening. I'm just going like, ooh. And then the second time, she's just like, hey, can I help you? And I was like, oh, God.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. Yeah, no, I'm just looking. And like frantically, you can't see this part, but like on the side, I'm just trying to close the camera out because I don't want her to be like on camera because she doesn't know. There's a recording indicator light, but in my experience, a lot of people just don't see it. They're not really aware of it because it's not red, it's white. So on the one hand, that makes you, the person using it, more likely to use it. You feel a little self-conscious. But then on the other hand, a lot of people don't know that it's white, and they don't, because the cultural, I think, language for us in recording lights is red. So it's sort of like one of those things where I find that most people in public don't know what I'm doing at that point in time. So I personally feel quite ethically
See,
dubious.
you're unusual, though, because I think a lot of people, and the ones that you really don't want to be doing this, are the ones who are going to have no ethical qualms whatsoever.
I was going to ask, Victoria, do you think that the decision to go white, which obviously, a lot of, they're not the first ones to do it. I mean, the original Snapchat spectacles were white too. I think that the Google Glass, I'm pretty sure, was red, but everything else has been white. Do you think that has been an intentional choice, like talking to these companies, so that basically, so people don't know, like as much as they try to claim, oh no, we want everyone to be aware, they really don't?
I think what they'll tell you is that they put a lot of thought and like research into what color they're choosing. And I think they very intentionally choose white so that it's less glaring. So,
less obvious is another way to put it. Yeah.
Less obvious, but still, if someone's in the know, they can clue in. So it's sort of like a halfway thing, because I get it. When you have something that just has a red light on you, people are on guard. And maybe you're just wearing this as a normal pair of glasses and headphones that you sometimes, maybe not even often, take the video or the camera with. In which case, if you're that person, well, do you want it to have a red light? Maybe not. But at the same time, if you're part of the greater public, I want to know when I'm being recorded. I feel like that's a common courtesy to know. So it's one of those things where consistently in my reviews, I list it as a con, because the white light, if you're in bright sunny daylight, you're just not going to see it. You just absolutely are not going to see it if you're outdoors. So that's definitely a problem.
And
but again,
people may be using it as you were in the museum to say, what is this? But no one can tell whether you're doing that or recording them.
Yeah.
It's not clear. I think that's going to be, it was a big cultural problem with Google Glass, and I don't think we've solved that issue. There are a lot of people who say,
and
I'm not going to, you don't wear those when you're sitting down with me, buddy boy.
Right. I mean, and I think that's the thing that is, at least right now, like you can tell, like with the display, they are big enough. I think they're obvious in some ways. If you look closely, you know what's going on. That is where I think just like the regular Meta glasses are a little bit more insidious, and frankly, kind of why I like them, right? Because they are like unobstructive, and I'm not trying to spy on people. I'm not trying to record things. The capabilities aren't there to do all these other advanced things. It's like, yeah, I can take a photo or a video, but really my primary thing is I have like a way to like listen to music and take a quick, like photo or scroll or whatever, but I'm not, like, it's not like I can do a whole lot more with it. And I don't have to feel weird about, wearing something that just looks like normal glasses. But yeah, I do think that is the thing that will become interesting, is when these things do become less obvious, and how do we culturally deal with that? Because, it's going to happen. It's like AirTags for me, because 99% of people who use AirTags are using it for a completely benign reason. They're using it for the way that it's intended. And then there's the 1% of jerks who are using it in pretty harmful ways. Yes. And you're seeing that with the regular Meta Ray Bans too, because there was a guy on a Bay Area university who was using it to kind of harass women and make social media content out of it. That's pretty crappy. So you have instances out here now of people being glass holes, but because they're so discreet, it's not quite as easy for people to clock. Like Google Glass, you look like you're a sci-fi character. You did. And frankly, I think a lot of the early adopters of Google Glass, because I followed that stuff very closely when it was happening, leaned in, frankly, to it, which made it worse, which made the whole
Scoble
thing worse.
Took it in the shower.
right. And then that became indicative of the whole thing. And I'm not going to blame him for that, but I would say,
in fact, it's good he did, because it highlighted the issue. Well, it did. To this day, I remember when Meta came out with the originals, they said, we hope Scoble doesn't get a hold of these.
Right. But there were people who were actively going into restaurants and almost picking fights and almost asking people to get kicked out and capturing things.
bars. Yeah.
Restaurants and bars. And I talked to some of those people, and I can say this with like more than 10 years in happenstance, they were actively in some of those cases being the antagonists.
They were provocateurs. Yes.
And they wanted a confrontation, and then wanted to turn it into a story about, look at how oppressed I am, and look at how terribly I'm being treated for this. And all it wound up doing was turning everybody off of the category until we could finally get to a place where it is now. But the unfortunate thing is that, to your point, Victoria, because it is much less obvious, it can be more insidious. It can be used in these ways that we wouldn't want. Although, to be fair, you could use any number of cameras for those sorts of purposes. Like with every good, people are always going to be able to abuse things. I think we just have to be cognizant of what those things are. And
I would like to see Meta just lead the conversation more, because anytime I have readers who are like bringing up these very valid concerns, the only thing I can point to is kind of an etiquette guide that Meta has, like a very small one, and it's basically like, don't be a jerk. And I was like, that can't be your policy. Like, there has to be some conversation you're having in terms of the design, in terms of setting the cultural tone with these, if you truly want to lead the space, because it's a problem that's going to pop up again. I went to a dinner with a friend that I hadn't seen in years, and we were yapping for like 2 hours. And then at one point, just the light changed, and I went, oh my God, are you wearing Ray-Ban Meta glasses? And he's like, oh yeah, I love them. I use them as like audio things, and sometimes I take photos, but whatever. The wearable lady who tests this stuff, very familiar with what these glasses look like, I didn't clock it for 2 hours. So that was kind of a wake-up call for me too, as to how discreet these really can be. And, when you introduce a neural band, when you can put your hand under the table and start recording, and there's no like cue like this, or there's no cue with the voice, you can just silently start recording someone. That's freaky deaky. That's super spy stuff. That is James Bond level things that you're putting into the average person's hand. It's not like a phone. Like, there's no hiding a phone where you're like, I'm recording you, that sort of situation. So that freaked me out a little bit while I was testing these devices, because it's a mind fuck, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
now you've got another sin that you have to add.
Listen, I'll just go back to Rome. I'll walk under the thing.
You got to go through the gate.
Go through the
We're going to take a little break here, because I don't want to get too far in the hole with ads, but this is so much fun. And we haven't even touched the first news stories that I wanted to get to. We will get to those. I knew it would be like this. Notice there is not a fourth person on this panel, because when you have Christina Warren and Victoria's song together, it sings. It's just great to have you both. I'm really thrilled. We will be back in just a bit with more, of course. Our show today brought to you by Zapier. Love Zapier. It actually helps me every single day. I use Zapier workflows to automate my job, to automate our work. I also use it around the house. I have scripts that do all sorts of home automation things. In business, Zapier is everywhere, because Zapier connects with 3,000 plus of the tools you already use. But now there's something new with Zapier that's very exciting, because Zapier is now an AI orchestration platform. That means you can take any of your existing workflows and add AI, or create new AI first workflows. And Zapier supports all of the biggest models. They've got ChatGPT, they've got Claude. So for instance, I use Zapier when I'm going through stories. I bookmark a story in raindrop.io. Zapier is watching, always watching, for any changes to my raindrop.io. When it sees it, it immediately toots it, posts it on my Mastodon instance and the Twit News links. It also carefully formats a line for a Google Drive sheet, that it puts it in the sheet. That's so the producers can later suck it up into our rundowns, because it's in the format they need, so they just copy and paste it. Zapier does all of this behind the scenes. I don't do anything. I just set this up once years ago, and it just kind of works automatically. Now, if I want, I can say, and insert into that workflow another line that says, can you have Claude synopsize this story so we can put a briefing book together for our hosts, that kind of thing. Imagine taking all the tools you already use and sprinkling a little magic AI on it. Use AI where you need it, however you need it, whether it's AI-powered workflows You can create an autonomous agent. You could create, I don't know, a customer chat bot, anything. You can orchestrate it with Zapier. And Zapier is not a tool for geeks. It is for everyone. You don't have to be a tech expert. Teams have already automated over 300 million AI tasks using Zapier. I've been using Zapier for years. It's my go-to for workflow automation. And now with AI, man, the sky's the limit. Join the millions of businesses transforming how they work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/twit. That's zapier.com/twit. Thank you, Zapier, for supporting This Week in Tech. We appreciate it. Well, we have to move on to serious news now. I'm sorry. We'll get back to fun. We're not done, but I should mention that Apple has lost that patent lawsuit with Masimo. And this time for $634 million.
Just pay them.
That's a jury decision instead of it.
I don't know why they don't just pay them. They could just pay them.
Yeah, they should have settled this years ago. Honestly, this whole thing is ridiculous. It's like, I get the principle and I get they have more money than anyone else. But like, come on, guys. When you lose the jury trial, like, God, come on.
Masimo has they have a watch, but they have other devices that have an optical sensor to detect blood flow. They say that pulse oximetry feature, Apple stole it from us for their Apple Watch. For a while, Apple actually turned the feature off on new Apple Watches. Then they found a workaround, so it is back on. And I've always had it because it was grandfathered in, I guess. Masimo has also accused Apple of hiring away employees, including its chief medical officer, in order to do that. You may remember a few years ago, the ITC, the International Trade Commission, said, okay, you can't import these Apple Watches with that feature. That's why Apple had to turn it off.
Right.
Now a jury has ruled, no, this is a violation of the patent. And now I imagine it's not over.
No, Apple said they're going to appeal. Of course they are. But this becomes an interesting question now about, like, does this change any things in terms of like the import ban status? Because yes, they had a workaround, but like, I don't know what it means for
Here's why Apple doesn't settle. Because they're worried that there would be other patents that would encourage other people to go after them.
Sure.
This is always a risk when you're creating a product that has so many technologies built into it. It just opens you up, and there's patent troll. I don't know. I don't think Masimo's a patent troll.
No, I mean, and patent trolls are real, and we saw that a lot in especially last decade when with a lot of mobile patents, right? Like there were a lot of companies that would patent things related to cell phones and other stuff, and there was a consortium I think that was led by Apple, and I think that it was Google was part of it, and there were a couple of other companies. BlackBerry was part of it that like bought. BlackBerry might not have been part of it. They might have had their own separate patent library that then became worthless as BlackBerry became worthless. But there was like a consortium that bought up a lot of the patents and then basically gave everybody like fair access and said, okay, we're all part of this group and you'll be able to use these things and not be worried about being sued for using these features. So yeah, I totally understand wanting to fight the patent trolls and whatnot. But in this case, I will say, I think that hiring away the chief medical officer thing, who cares? That's that's in California, that's illegal. In a lot of states, it's illegal to even pretend that you can't do that, right? Like non-competes, which Apple has fought against, and part of the reason that they're illegal in California now is actually
although Apple did it. Remember, Steve Jobs made a deal with Google.
I was going to say that's actually why they're illegal in the state of California is because of Apple's own actions. So that I don't care anything about, and it is it seems like spurious. But some of the other things, like if they have the patent and if it's been found this way, I get not wanting to settle. I get not wanting to do this, but I feel like there could have been either a licensing agreement or something that you could have done that would not have cost you $650 million.
Yeah, you make a deal.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is this feature is not that important.
No,
exactly.
It's just not that important of a feature as far as
I never use it.
Like, right, because doing spot checks is not that useful. The only time that SPO2 is sort of useful right now is if you're going to do sleep apnea detection with it or some sort of sleep related feature, well, Apple figured out a way to do sleep apnea detection without that sensor. So if you think about it, it's sort of just like,
I bought, though, a pulse, an oximeter, an oxygen sensor for my finger during COVID, because that was one of the early signs that your COVID infection was going in the wrong direction, was your oxygen saturation. So there's a medical use for it. I think you're right with sleep apnea. I pay attention.
For sure.
My Aura ring will say, you had no sleep disturbances or a few mild sleep disturbances. I pay attention to that. But Apple and Aura and everybody who does this also say, but this is not diagnostic. This is,
it's not.
You shouldn't rely on this for, to say, oh, I don't have sleep apnea. My ring says I don't. Just as the AFib and the other heart stuff with Apple.
Yeah,
it's all detection features. They very specifically say it's not diagnostic because that would require a higher degree of, and just so much, it introduces so much liability to say, my smartwatch diagnosed me with something. So it's never going to be that.
And in their testing, I can't remember what heart feature it was, but Apple, I think it was AFib, but Apple, or maybe one of the new ones, Apple in their own testing only caught about 50% of the AFib cases. So not showing AFib problems on your watch, 50% of the people who had no problem do have a problem. It's not that useful, right? Despite all the ads of Apple Watches saving people's lives.
I mean, it can. I mean, I was in it was minor, but I had a situation where my Apple Watch caught that my resting heart rate was like 120, 130.
Oh.
And it was, it turned out that I had some sort of an infection and whatnot. So I went to the, hospital, and it was one of those things I usually wouldn't go to the ER. And I usually wouldn't go to, I would never be like, oh, you need to go to the ER for this. But when it was getting close to the 140 point, and again, this is my resting heart rate, I'm concerned because I've had thyroid storm before, and this can be indicative of problems. And so, they treated me. They gave me I had to wear a active heart monitor for 2 weeks, to test things.
But see, that's the real deal, right? And that's the gold standard.
And that's the way you should be.
That is what you should be doing. But
if the watch warned you, I think that's valuable.
But I was going to say, I wouldn't have known that, right? I felt tired, but it wasn't one of those things that stuck out to me. And when I'd had the situation earlier in my life, which was related to a different situation, that was only caught because I happened to be at a completely different doctor's office. They did took my pulse, and they were like, something's not right. And it turned out that, I was in a thing called thyroid storm, which can be very, very
Yikes.
Bad. And I was young, and I was seeing an endocrinologist. So that was a problem that he didn't catch it. I'd seen him literally 2 days earlier, and that he didn't, he was in the same office as the doctor that I was in, who actually did catch it. But I look back on that, I'm like, yes, you're right. These things aren't going to be perfect. They're not diagnostic, but they can be good signs just to know.
For baselines.
Exactly. Just for baselines. And that can be really, really beneficial. I think if you lean on it too hard, or one way or another, it's not going to be good. But I'm glad that I knew, 6 years ago or whenever, this last incident happened, I'm glad I was wearing my Apple Watch that morning.
So it's exactly for that reason. It's baselines. If you know your baselines, if it's doing something like passively checking if you have an irregular heart rate, those things are, that one's actually the one that most people are like, oh, that saved my life because.
Right. Do you think it's a risk though that it could turn us all into hypochondriacs?
Yes, that's already a problem. That's happening.
But they're already doing that.
People are already having that health anxiety.
My heart.
There was a study that came out, and there was this elderly woman, and she had done something like over 900 EKG readings in a year because she was so paranoid about that.
She's so sure.
Yeah. So, the health anxiety portion of that is a very real thing. And there's also just a lot of miseducation about that out there, because it's really good that you got a fingertip pulse oximeter during COVID, because that is something that can do that real time checking. It's something that, is gone through
and
the
it was
FDA
accurate.
And it's accurate.
Yeah. So it knew, whereas the watch, I think, is much less accurate. I don't know about Aura, but I just feel like
they're accurate for certain situations, like when you're passively sleeping. those sorts of things, like just kind of an anecdote. When my mom was dying,
it makes me feel good when it says you don't have sleep apnea. My wife says you're snoring like a mother. What the hell's going on? So but look, my ring says it's okay.
Yeah, but
Google has been ordered to pay speaking of fines, a $665 million fine in Germany for anti-competitive practices, for abusing its dominant market position for what? Google Shopping? What, is that still a thing? No.
Who even uses that? But okay.
It's long gone, but I guess it takes a while. And I presume Google is just going to say, yeah, fine. I mean, Google is so profitable, just as Apple is, but Google's even more profitable than Apple, that they can.
I'm sure they'll fight it. But yeah, I mean, and it is interesting. Google Shopping apparently does still exist.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, at least in the US.
So the issue was something Google's denied all along, that Google search results prefer Google products like YouTube or Google Shopping.
Well, I think that it would. I think the thing was that like it would prioritize links to, I guess, maybe Google affiliated shopping links versus like stores like Amazon or whatever. And anecdotally, that did seem to be the case, but I think the question was, and obviously the court in Germany has decided, is that a violation of antitrust, right? Because you could make the argument that says, well, this is our search engine, these are our products.
This is we're
allowed to vertically integrate the way that
and it's what people want. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like if we're able to find the deals and whatnot. I think that the bigger issue, at least with some companies, and I don't know if this was the case in Germany, but I know like Yelp and some other US based companies were very bothered by the fact that they almost felt like they had to pay, like in addition.
That's one of the complaints people have about these EU prosecutions, though, is that they are driven by EU companies that don't like competing with big American companies like Spotify, whatever they have in Germany for Yelp. Maybe it's Yelp. I don't know. That it's really, these other companies trying to tilt the playing field away from your American big tech. Is that fair?
I think I don't know. I feel like the EU stuff is, and I don't know what your perspective on this is, Victoria, but for me, it always feels like, especially when you look at the DMA and this Google case is different from that, which Apple is dealing with. But a lot of it just seems like there are levels of bureaucracy, and that can be a good or a bad thing, right? And in my opinion, I sometimes feel like it goes too far and accomplishes little. But I know that many people in the EU and in their countries are very protective about their, protection rights and the things that are, like built into how their governments are structured. And that just, I think, goes against some of the ways that, the US companies have operated and have been able to continue to operate over the last couple of decades.
Because the Trump administration's response to this is, no, you can't regulate our guys. That's our job.
Right.
They're defending American companies in Europe, but they're going after them in the U.S.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of, that's kind of been consistent, I think, going back to the Obama administration, right? Like, honestly, like the whole thing.
We have these deals. You're not supposed to prosecute us. We'll leave that to us.
Right. Well, but I think it's also a very, like, the way I look at it is that it's a very, like, weird cultural thing, because as Americans, I think that a lot of us, we have, like, because of just, especially if we were born here, like, we have a sort of sense of a complex, which is like, you're not going to tell me what to do. Like, the government is not going to regulate, especially when it comes to businesses, right? That's a kind of a fundamental part of being an American that is very different in the EU, where it is much more accepted because the public has seen the benefits of having.
Well, that's the opposite. That's the other side of the coin. Is thank God for the EU, because we don't seem to be doing much here in the United States to protect our privacy, to protect consumers.
Exactly. And so it's one of those trade-off things, which is like, and it's hard for me as an American. Like, I never feel more American than when I'm in kind of these discussions about things, because I'm like, this is a thing where I objectively know the benefits of the way that the EU system might work, but because of how I've lived my whole life, there's a part of me that rubs up against being told, you as a private business have to adhere to these terms, which might be onerous and might be useless, like the USB-C thing, right? Like, on the one hand, it's good to have a standard. On the other hand, all you're doing is forcing everybody onto either, like one type of connector type, where you don't even know what the actual capabilities are behind the scenes, and the little logos don't make it super clear, and have discouraged, but to save the fact that now we're not going to get, like, we don't get chargers in our boxes and some other kind of overly onerous stuff. Where I'm like, okay, I get why you want to encourage some of these things, but it feels just overly like putting a hand on the scale. So
Igor Ackerman in our club says this is the German site that went after Google in Germany, Idealo, which is a German shopping site that says, hey, Google doesn't put our results at top. They put their results at top. So,
I mean, I get it. If you're trying and you really want, if you are the small person going up against the Goliath,
kind of hard to beat.
It's hard. It's even harder.
It's the power
now.
of Google search is what it really is.
Right. Right. But I think the fundamental like disconnect is, and this is, and the German courts have decided is, okay, if you're creating the search engine, if you're building the infrastructure, if you're supporting all of this, why, are you not allowed to dictate or at least have some role in how the results are displayed?
There are search results. Why can't we favor ourselves?
Right. I mean, because if we look at almost any other social platform where you have, it's not like we've had algorithms determining, feed results for a very long time. And, Google makes the argument that they are choosing the best results for those purposes. Now, again, and this has been a question that a lot of people have had for a long time, which is, okay, but are you favoring your results, or are you requiring people to pay, maybe onerous, fees and whatnot to be included and even have a chance to have your things promoted and whatnot, right? Like, are these things going to appear organically or not? And those are valid questions, but I think that Google's response probably would have been, and I'm not speaking for them, I have no idea what their actual position is, would be like, okay, if you're this bothered by this, then build your own search engine. But at a certain point, you become a monopoly and you become such a, integrated part of every part of, the computing world that governments, I mean, the United States is going after them too, is, that a lot of countries are going to be like, okay, but it's great you built all this, but because it is, such a monopoly, there have to be some regulations.
Google made a lot of money this quarter.
They did. They did.
They'll be fine.
A lot of money.
They did.
They'll be fine.
That's how you make a lot of money. By favoring your results. Our long national nightmare is over. Monday Night Football is back on YouTube TV tomorrow night. Disney has, I don't know if Disney caved or YouTube
I couldn't tell, but all I know is the deal was settled. So
thank God it's over.
I know.
I actually subscribed to ESPN.
God.
Because we can't get over the air television up here in the boonies. And so the only way we were going to be able to watch Monday Night Football last Monday was to watch it on ESPN.
Okay, I'm going to send you some links.
I've canceled that subscription, by the way.
Good. Well, I'm glad, but I'm going to say there are links
There's
available.
ways around it?
There are. There are a
Really?
lot. There are so many IPTV. I will send you links, Leo, because here's the thing. If you already, yes.
But that's illegal. You're going to have to go through the gate again.
Okay, you're already technically paying. If you're paying for YouTube TV, and there's a carriage dispute. I'm
they
sorry.
gave me $20 back.
Oh yeah, great, yeah, I know.
So I'm only $10 in the hole by buying ESPN for $30.
Right. So my point being, when these carriage disputes happen, my morality, and not that I have much of it anyway. I mean, I mooch off of a friend's YouTube TV account and then use a VPN every 3 months to make it look like I'm at their location, so I can reset it so I can travel. But thank you, Jeremiah. But like I'm
not sure you should announce that in public.
I think we should do more subscription stealing, to be quite frank.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's truly well, and also like, look, whatever. I pay so much.
Victoria, I don't steal the Verge subscription. I pay my Verge subscription regularly, and my GitHub fees, I pay those too, Christina.
Appreciate it. We very much appreciate it. But
We appreciate it, but
I'm saying if you're already paying for a service and there's a carriage dispute, which is out of your control as a customer.
No, you're right. That's a good point.
I do not think that there's any moral argument at all to figure out how to get an IPTV link, of which there are many, to be able to enjoy what you need to enjoy. Like,
people
am I
are
saying
a little mad at Disney
like,
now, by the way, not because of this, but because of Bob Iger saying Disney Plus is going to do AI-generated videos.
Yeah.
Pissing off all the creatives in Hollywood. I think that's a kind of a strategic error.
It's interesting because I think it depends on what they mean by like AI generated. Like, does that mean like does it mean
here's this is during the Thursday earnings call, which, by the way, everybody thinks was why Disney settled, because they didn't want to say at the earnings call, we're losing $30 million a week without having this YouTube TV deal. That kind of prodded them along. Anyway, Iger said, quote, "There's phenomenal opportunities to deploy AI across our direct-to-consumer platforms, both to provide tools that make the platforms more dynamic and more sticky with consumers, but also to give consumers the opportunity to create on our platforms."
I mean,
just not.
What do you think that means, Victoria? That's
Could
weird.
we just not?
you know exactly what that means. You know exactly what that means, Leo. That means
Sora clips on Disney Plus.
Could we just not?
I mean, I agree, but at the same time, I mean, like, if they do want to create an app, which we know they'll abandon in 18 months,
right,
where people can create clips that they put up whatever guardrails they want to put up until someone inevitably breaks them and then has Elsa from Frozen do something terrible, and then they have to put
24 hours.
1,000%. But come on, think of the content in that 24 hours. The first 24 hours of Sora was incredible.
Listen, I'm great. I'm great at making cursed ass prompts that make,
Me too.
Are you?
my editors will like toss it at me and then be like, "Oh God, why did we ask you to do this?" I was like, "Because you want to know if I can break it, because I have made some."
Are you the queen of jailbreaking AI? Are you?
I've made.
What's your secret?
I just have a twisted mind, and I want to see how far I can push it. I've made some cursed ChatGPT images. That
Me too.
Really?
In fact,
Oh, yeah.
And
do you think everybody's done that?
No.
You're
not
just
to this
particularly
extent.
weird?
I mean, you seem like me, Victoria, because what I did actually, and I would do this even as like part of like work, frankly, like be testing a new model, be like, okay, well, let me see if I can break it. And genuinely, that would be like, we would have like a all kind of like getting
when you were
thing.
working at DeepMind.
Yeah. I mean, and I wasn't alone in this. Like there were groups where they basically be heads
but
down.
they
like,
want to do that. That's
yes.
different. That's kind of QC. That's product testing.
Sure. But the reason I'm so good at it was because
because you have a perverted mind.
Well, before I worked there, like that was anytime a new image generator or anything would come out, I would be like, okay, how can I get this to have some copyrighted character do something terrible in the world, and then send those images to my friends because it's funny to me, because I have like Victoria twisted sense of humor. And so Sora, it was interesting because there would be things that they wouldn't let me post and things that I would never have posted under my name anyway, because I'm not dumb, but it would create it anyway. And then you're able to download the video and then send them to the group chat, and you're like
this video of Clippy getting arrested.
I mean, I love that. I mean, that's really good.
But that's just genuinely funny. Like, we're talking some real curse stuff.
Clippy probably doesn't have the copyright police on its side anyway. What's the curse? So give me an example, Victoria. What's really cursed?
So, I got assigned a story many months ago to try these AI kiss and hug apps.
I don't even know about these.
There were these apps that you could download. You just upload 2 pictures of people and try and make them kiss. I have some horrible imagery on my phone.
What's the worst 2 people you made kiss?
Trump and Tim Cook, French kissing. Oh, I did something similar, but I had there were some I don't know some white sand like substances involved, and gentlemen's clubs. I feel so sorry to Idris Elba and Adam Driver. I did some really cursed things. They were growing boobs in bikinis and dancing around. God. And I would just send these to my editors and they were like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "You asked me to do this. I'm just trying to see what you can do." And lo and behold, a lot of those apps got rid of the French kissing stuff because AI don't know what to do with tongues. No, they don't. They don't know what to do with tongues. They're getting better with mouths, but yeah, they don't know what to do with tongues. Now, did you find? I found Grok was the one that was the easiest. Oh, Grok, you can get it to do anything. Almost anything. And I actually had Grok do. There were a couple that I prompts that I gave Grok that gave me back results that I was actually very uncomfortable with when it comes speaking of some of the kissing stuff. Where I went, okay, actually, even from my sensibilities, this is too far, and I wasn't even trying to jailbreak it. I was just putting in, a prompt that it just took because like hackers the guardrails are so back in February, hackers posted a video of the president kissing and caressing Elon Musk's feet on the TVs in the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It was playing over and over and over again. Now that's a hack.
Yeah, and there's like really easy ways to get around the fact that these things are trying not to use public figures. Because I think for Trump and Tim Cook, I was using
They're going to
prompts.
never stop that, right? Because they're
But
public.
you can just
can't. Yeah.
Right.
It's just
Well,
easy
it's
because you can just
easy.
say a tanned dictator with a red baseball cap making
Yeah.
out with a silver-haired tech executive.
And it's going to
Exactly.
just do it?
Like,
yes.
it will.
Guys,
Because that's what it knows. I mean,
you're
like,
so bad.
well, because like, one of the things is like, one of the big tests was like Will Smith eating
Victoria
spaghetti.
goes, well,
Right. Like one of the big tests for the models like a year ago or whatever, like, Will Smith eating spaghetti was ridiculous. And now
Right.
like
Look how good it is now.
The 3.1 is
Yeah.
great. Right. But the thing is there are some, not for everyone, but there are some like guardrails in place. And so if you put in to VO3, show Will Smith eating spaghetti, it won't work. Now
Really?
I can't say right. But now what it will work with, and I'm not sure if this is the case now because I haven't tested this with the latest version, but what I did do, because I know this because I did live demos with this to regular users. So sorry, Google, but it was part of my job. If you put in the actor from Bad Boys or Men in Black eating spaghetti,
Or
It's gonna be
Edward
Will Smith.
Cullen.
yes,
Edward Cullen versus
Right.
Robert Pattinson, that sort
Right.
of thing. Yeah.
So and like the companies, I can't speak for all of them, like, but they have taken on I can't speak for any of them, but what they've said publicly is that they are taking on some of that risk, right? In
Right.
terms of
It's worth
public
it for
figures and
them.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Right. And there are the law is unclear, I think, about how this sort of likeness stuff can be used. There will be lawsuits. Obviously, Sora had to make a lot of, clampdowns on things because
But
the
if you're a
King
public
Foundation and other whatnot.
figure, you can say you have publicity rights in terms of your face being used for advertising.
Yes.
But
but
if you're a president of the United States, people can use your image in AI. You don't have legal
right. Well, and
recourse.
the thing would be is that I think the real question is who would be legally responsible if someone's creating an AI generated video that's making it look like you're endorsing something or saying something or doing something. Then I think that one argument would be whoever generated that content is the one who is legally liable. The
Well,
question,
but
which
we
has
know
not
the
been settled,
platforms get held responsible.
Well, they do and they don't, and that's the thing that hasn't been settled yet, which is to say, are they going to be responsible? Right. And that hasn't been settled. And I think that's many of them are erring in the air of caution for certain types of public figures and to cut down on certain things. But again, you see Grok, which doesn't have that at all, because their lawyers have made the determination, whether it's right or wrong, that they're not going to take that on. That being said, I'm sure that Grok would not defend any lawsuits brought against someone who generated content using Grok that then violated, some sort of norm, right? Like I think that their position would probably be, and I don't know this definitively, but I'd assume it'd be similar to the other companies, which is to be like, if you are actively infringing on something, then we are not going to be responsible for that. We will protect up to a point, but we're not going, if you're going out of your way to, infringe on something, like, you're the one who's responsible, not us.
Let's take a little break. When we come back, X has finally announced its end-to-end encrypted chat.
Sure.
Sure.
Right.
The Everything app is just around the corner. You guys are, you young people today, you're so cynical. You're so cynical. We'll have more in just a bit. Victoria Song is here, senior reviewer at The Verge. Love her writing, love her work, and love having you on the show, Victoria. Thank you for being here. And also Christina Warren's back, baby. Now that she's no longer in the maw of the deep mind, she can join us back, senior dev advocate at GitHub. Crocs and all.
Yep.
Great to see you both. You're still a sneaker fan, though. You're not doing that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I've worn Crocs once in my life. It was for a really good fit. I don't wear plastic shoes as a rule. I don't, but
No.
great fit. And it was a great thing, but no, they're going to go on my shelf, but I will never wear them again.
They're good house slippers. I gotta say, I have a pair of Croc slides for house slippers. They don't look like normal Crocs.
I wear
Okay, so
UFOs.
that I might be open for, but I was not taken in by the comfort. Everybody talks about how comfortable Crocs
no,
are.
they're not.
I did not.
They're
I
not.
was like, this is awful. Why would I ever put this on my feet? But if you say the slides are good for house slippers, I usually wear Adidas slides for that. But you know what? That might not be.
I wear the UFOs because they're recovery slippers.
Oh, yeah.
And they're more comfortable. They're nice.
Well, my mom got me these things at, I think it was like a Bass Pro Shop or something. I don't remember, but they don't make them anymore. No, but they were great. They were these slippers that are, no, they're great. Like the bottoms, I loved them in New York because the bottoms are thick and you can walk outside with them. But they're like flip-flops or kind of sandals, whatever, but they're covered in like really warm kind of fuzz. So you just slip your feet in, but then you could walk outside if something is like rainy or slow or slushy and it's not going to get your slippers.
That sounds like glare-ups.
They were great.
Are they glare-ups?
I know. I can't remember the name of the brand. We tried to find them and they stopped making them or something, but they were really, really good.
I feel like this is the Christmas gift that I'm going to give everybody in my family. These are like from Sweden or someone. They're wool. Is this it? Yeah, they're there. They're wool. And they have leather soles, and they're really great. They're really comfy. They're basically felted wool. I don't know why there's recipes.
Nice.
There they are. They're slippers. Yeah, I really like them. Those are my house slippers, too. That and the UFUs, depending on my mood. If I want to wear rubber, I'll wear the UFUs. If I want to wear wool, I'll wear the glare-ups. All right. I don't know how we got in this. I'm sorry.
Look, shoes.
Do you guys have
We talk about
labubus?
shoes.
Do you have
Yeah,
labubus? Okay.
I do.
Lafufus.
Lafufus?
I have a Lafufu. My gas
Oh,
station.
yeah. We
Lafufu.
talked about lafufus last time.
You have a Lafufu. So, funnily enough, they just opened a new Pop Mart in Union Square in San Francisco. Had tons of stuff. I was able to walk right in. Like, I was able to get the Coca-Cola one that I wanted. Like, from that collection, they had like all the collections out, and you could just like get them. It was wild because the Pop Mart in Seattle is always insane, and I never bother with it. But no, I was able to just.
San Francisco is too cool for Labubu.
I don't know. I think that people don't know that the store opened is my thought, because the Nintendo store opened across the street from it, and there's a Pop Mart, and like next to Macy's basically. And so me and my friend Helen went like 2 weeks ago.
Stocked up on the Labubu.
I don't need a Labubu. I'm happy with my Lafufu because they're a little weird looking.
What's the difference between a Lafufu and a Labubu again? Fill me in.
A Labubu is the real thing.
Yeah.
A Lafufu is a knockoff dupe, and they usually look a little jank.
They're always a lot, which is great.
Labubu is what you're saying.
Yes, okay. Timu Labubu.
The number of teeth is wrong. There's something weird with the stitching. Like they're
stitching's
the
never right.
Great.
Oh, it knocked my mic over, but yeah, no.
Honestly, I kind of, in some ways, I'm kind of with you, Victoria. I kind of like them better because it gives them more character.
Oh yeah,
they're so funny.
They are so funny, but. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a Coca-Cola girly, and so being able to get one of those Coca-Cola Labubus, that's holding like the bottle, like.
Do you call every soda a Coke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not pop.
No.
It's not soda. It's Coke.
I mean, I usually say soda because I've lived other places for so long, and so you become more confident.
But in Atlanta, it's all Coke. Yeah.
Yes, and it's funny because people sometimes, is Pepsi okay? And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm just ordering the generic, like
just soda.
Like
soda pop.
Right.
It's Coke.
I mean, I would exactly. I would obviously prefer Coca-Cola, and I will only drink Pepsi if forced. But and that's just me being like loyal to my hometown, but. In Atlanta, everything is a Coke, and it's one of those funny things because you go to like a Pizza Hut or whatever, and you're like, "Can I get a Coke?" And they know
they're owned by PepsiCo.
They used to be, but they still have an exclusive relationship, except for the ones at Emory, Georgia Tech, and I think UGA, because the campuses have agreements to only have Coca-Cola products. So those locations, like on campus, have to serve Coke products, even when they were owned by PepsiCo. It was funny.
Did Yum buy them?
They did,
okay.
But I think they've since diversified. But they still have I think like standard agreement. I know too much about this.
You're way too
fascinated.
I do. Unfortunately, I can also go through a whole like diatribe on the history of like Dr. Pepper Company and its bottling partnerships.
Waco, but Texas.
Yes, but even beyond that, the Cadbury Schweppes of it all and the Snapple Group of it all, and anyway, I won't get into all that. But no, I mean, but everybody in Atlanta, like you order, it doesn't matter where you are, you order
a Coke. It's the regional word for soda pop. Yeah.
Yes, and they know. But if you go outside of that, the regional
they think
category,
you mean Coke.
And I'm like, I don't care. Just give me. Whatever your artisanal, Coke-like product that tastes worse than Coke is. Like, just
I'll take it. If it's fizzy and sweet, I'll take it.
Give me like your
fizzy,
your
sweet, and brown. I'll take
it. Exactly.
All right, we're going to take a break. We will come back You're watching This Week in Tech. This episode this week brought to you by Deel, D-E-E-L. This solves a problem I think a lot of companies have. We have this problem too. You find the perfect engineer, but they live overseas. And you realize that hiring them is going to be harder than getting your VPN to connect on a hotel Wi-Fi. There's entities set up, there's local payroll laws, and they're different in every country. There's compliance hoops. It can be a total nightmare, but Deel fixes that. A single global AI-powered platform that lets you hire, onboard, and pay anyone, anywhere, fast and compliantly. No third-party vendors, no duct-taped integrations, just one clean system for HR, for IT, and for payroll. This scales with your team. You can sign up new hires in minutes. You can ship their devices. You can grant system access. You can run payroll in 100+ countries. Think of it as DevOps for people operations, global infrastructure that just works. Ask the CEO of Airwallex. He said, and this said it best, quote, Deel lets us hire and support top talent anywhere without slowing down, end quote. See why over 35,000 companies trust Deel. Visit DEEL.com/TWIT. That's Deel.com/twit. We thank him so much for supporting This Week in Tech. Mr. Pibb is back with more cherry and more caffeine, Scooter X tells me. Ooh.
Very nice. Thank you, Scooter X, for letting us know. Yeah, because Mr. Pibb left for a while. That was one of the interesting things. So in almost every territory except for the United States, and a couple of others, Coca-Cola actually bottles Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
But they are not allowed to because of various, I think, competitive thing. I don't know what the deal was, but they haven't been able to bottle it and distribute it in the United States. So it's still distributed by, at this point, the Dr. Pepper company, which used to be known as Cadbury Schweppes. And then I think it became like Dr. Pepper Snapple. And then there have been other things. This is different from the whole Waco Dr. Pepper controversy of who's the real owner of the Dr. Pepper, formula or whatever.
Was there a Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Don't they own Keurig?
It was Keurig. It was Keurig Dr. Pepper. I think they divested, but I can't remember. But yeah, because it was Cadbury Schweppes, then it was Snapple, then it was Keurig. Now I think it's just Dr. Pepper.
What is going on with all these giant food conglomerates? Is there a reason
don't know, dude.
for all that? Anyway, let's talk about X. They are finally rolling out their end-to-end encrypted chat with video calling. I presume this is the beginning of X becoming the everything app. I remember Elon dissing Signal, saying, no, that you can't trust them. You got to trust X for end to end.
Oh,
would anybody do
trust
that?
the guy who made the frickin' Grok companions?
Yeah.
And like a rude raccoon boy. And
I used Grok when that first came out, and I didn't choose a rude raccoon. I just chose the raccoon, and it was rude.
Oh, if you choose the rude raccoon, that rude raccoon is like.
But I didn't choose anything.
Terrible.
I said I wanted. They had the two characters, and I just tried it. The next day the raccoon suddenly had a little kid voice, and it was for kids. But the day before, I can't. I'm embarrassed to even say what it said. It was so appalling.
I said its insults weren't good, and it went, your insults aren't good. My insults are awesome. Oh God.
You do it very well. You do the.
It was cursed.
The cursed raccoon. All right. Well, same company and the same AI, I guess. Do you guys use Grokipedia at all? We're going to have Jimmy Wales on Intelligent Machines on Wednesday, and I'm very curious what he'll say about Grokipedia. It is like it skimmed Wikipedia, but then it added more or something to it. Yeah,
I mean, what it seems like to me is that they've ingested a lot of the articles.
But then they add, like if I look at my Grokipedia entry, it's got a lot more.
Right, but then they've also, I think, they've maybe used that as a
starting point,
yeah. And then using the internet to add in more details, which could be a good thing, right? Like in some cases, depending on what it is, it might be able to pull in more relevant information or newer information than what Wikipedia might give you, because Wikipedia has to be added manually. But I don't know. I haven't really. I mean, I tried it out when it came out, just I guess to see some of the differences in how it wrote certain articles. but I haven't spent
If
a
it
lot of
was
time
a
with it.
political issue, it would definitely have a slant, but it didn't on my entry.
Yeah. I mean, and then that's the thing. I think that obviously they're probably optimizing for certain article types and subject areas.
It's entirely generated by XAI, right?
I think so, but I mean, I'm sure that they're training things in certain ways,
Right.
and maybe making approvals or whatnot. It's interesting, and this I think this is what would be interesting to talk to Jimmy about. When Wikipedia started, I mean, obviously it's all human generated. Although I think that early on, a lot of it they had two models. First, they were writing very detailed, informed articles like an encyclopedia would, and it took a long time for subjects to get up, and that was one of the reasons why he switched to the model of letting anybody contribute. And then that obviously it proliferated, took off, and then
It's amazing.
they created and then they created the whole bureaucracy system around it so that you could manage what's allowed and what's not, and who's trusted and whatnot, and that's had issues as any social systems do, and I've been critical about it for decades at this point, but I also have to admit that it's worked well. But I would be curious to know, he started Wikipedia 2001, so close to 25 years ago.
Amazing.
I think it was January of 2001. So 25 years on, putting in the politics and the rationale and the Elon Muskness of it aside, assuming he was trying to start a project like Wikipedia now, I would be curious to know if he would be open to using AI
I think
to at least help generate some of that content,
I
right?
think he said that, and I think that was very controversial, and that's one of the first things we're going to ask him, because it's a show about AI. So yeah,
because I would think that a good model potentially, if you were trying to start from scratch, right? If you're trying to get a corpus from scratch and you don't have Encyclopedia Britannica or any of the other systems to kind of generate from, if you needed to get a corpus of data, it might not be a bad solution at this point if you have access to AI, which has access to those things to help build stubs, and then have humans come in and add things and maybe vet things, right? But I feel like what's amazing about Wikipedia is what it's managed to generate in 25 years, and all the stuff that's been there. Although a lot of the early entries were basically copy pasted from traditional encyclopedias and sources like Encarta and whatnot, which makes sense, right? Maybe people would
Encarta was based on what was it, Funk and Wagnalls? I mean, it's hard to start from scratch.
Precisely. And many times, that the hardest part with these systems is the newer information, right? Some things almost become settled, right? And there, obviously we can go back and revisit history and revisit how, figures are portrayed, but there are some events that is just this is what this is, or this is the concept and how it works. The area where things are always much more controversial are the events that are taking place more in real time. And that, I don't think really changes whether you have AI doing it and making the decisions or you have humans involved. I feel more comfortable if humans are involved, even if they're going to be biased. But I would be just interested in, if he were starting Wikipedia today, how would he do it? Yeah. How would he do it, and how would AI play a role? Because I have to think that he would. I think that it would be it wouldn't make sense not to at least consider it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. We had mentioned on MacBreak Weekly, every time Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg said, Tim Cook's going to step down someday, and here's who the successors are, and poo-pooed it, saying, well, I don't think that's going to happen. Tim's only 65. Why should he? Certainly doing really well with Apple. He's made a big success of it. This week, Financial Times, this is the login screen, so I don't need to show that. I'm logging in right now. See, I pay for this stuff.
I do too.
Yeah, Financial Times is really expensive.
It is very expensive, and I yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. Anyway, Financial Times. Well, the funny thing is, you don't really need a subscription to the Financial Times or anything else, because all the other blogs will immediately republish it. So
somebody has one subscription, then we all share it. Remember, Victoria, do you remember when the Wall Street Journal login, there was a login that was media? Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For a decade, you could log into the Wall Street Journal for free using the username media and the password media. And then in 2016 or 2017, they cut it off. And it was very annoying to have to then pay for the Wall Street Journal.
I didn't know that, and I've been paying for the Wall Street Journal all that time.
It's gone. It's gone.
Listen.
They got rid of it. I actually think that's one of the more valuable subscriptions I pay for. But yeah.
Anyway, according to the Financial Times, Apple is actively preparing for Tim Cook to step down. They're implying that it will happen probably as soon as next year. That John Ternus, who's Apple's senior vice president of hardware engineering, is likely the successor. That's what Mark Gurman has also been saying. Although, according to the sources, and this is a story written by Tim Bradshaw, Stephen Morris, and Michael Acton in San Francisco, and Daniel Thomas in London. They say they have sources inside Apple. No final decisions have been made about who would succeed Cook.
Right.
Their performance is fine. Earnings have been fine. Why would Tim Cook step down? I guess he's nominally retirement age.
Yeah, look, I think it could be a number of things. One, I think we were talking about Bob Iger earlier, and we were talking about kind of the response to him in the earnings call, and we were talking about, if people are mad at him and whatnot. And I think he's an interesting case where he clearly did not want to leave Disney when he left Disney. He was not ready to go. He did not want to lead the CEO-ship. And he left. They put in Bob Chapek, who was a disaster. He came back. But when Bob Iger came back, it wasn't the same company, and he's not seen the same. And I think that his legacy is unfortunately going to be really harmed by, leaving and coming back.
Kind of what Axios has been saying, the twilight of the star CEO. And they tie this into the fact that the CEO of Walmart, Doug McMillon, announced he was going to step down on Friday. So Tim Cook, Bob Iger, McMillan stepping down. Is it the end of the line for these superstar CEOs?
I think it might just be the end of this generation, right? You have another generation rising up. It's a new generation rising up. And I would say for Tim Cook, I don't think there's a reason he has to step down. But at the same time, if you're looking at potentially wanting to do other things with the rest of your life, right? Because he is still a young guy and he could still do plenty of other things, whatever he wants to do. And that could still remain being involved in Apple in some way or whatever. Leaving when you have not just been CEO longer than your successor was, but you were able to multiply the company's valuation by X number of times, and you've had all these successes, I don't think is a bad thing. I think that at the same time, a thing that a lot of people have been critical about Apple about, and I think very fairly so, is that the product direction, especially in the last number of years, is very good on the Mac side, and they've put out some interesting products, but like Apple Intelligence is late and it's behind and it's not good. A Vision Pro, massive flop, right? Like the things, it's terrible, and it was basically like a design concept that was released to the public, and that nothing ever really.
That was a mistake, wasn't it?
I think the time and the money
started a clock ticking that Apple wasn't prepared to.
Right.
Victoria, can Apple do well without Tim Cook? How important is he to their continued success?
I think the thing about Tim Cook that's interesting is that he was the supply chain guy, right? And when he came on, like, people were like, who dis? So I don't necessarily think it matters that the general public knows who this man is. I would not say that he has a cult of personality around him. No. Like Tim Cook, he a little dry. Not in a bad way. He's just responsible and very nice guy.
His biggest flaw is that he's not Steve Jobs.
Right.
Yeah. He doesn't have the charisma of his predecessor. He need to be.
But I would say, John Ternus is a product guy. That's the thing that I think that is, to me, would be invigorating.
Let me see what Grokkipedia says about John Ternus.
Oh, God, no. But to your point, Christina, I do think they have a little bit of a product crisis at this point. Because, if you think about the Steve Jobs days, like, there was a very clear direction, and you didn't have to agree with their direction, but there was like one
But you knew what it was. Yeah.
Well, you knew what it was. And now you look at the product SKUs and you're just like, I don't know what an iPad to buy. I'm sorry. There's like 20,000 iPads. I don't know which one to buy.
In fact, there probably isn't that much of a difference between the iPad Air, the iPad Nothing, and the iPad Pro. They're just so similar.
And there's many. Yeah. Yes. It's impossible. I'm trying to buy my mom an iPad, and I'm literally going through this problem. Like, what do I get her?
Just get her the most expensive.
It's like phones. Even the phones, it used to be like had one phone per generation, and then you had one small phone, one big phone. Now there's 4 freaking phones. Now there might be a foldable, and I spent a whole month and a half trying to figure out what phone I was going to upgrade to.
Which one did you get?
Because I just bought it yesterday, and I got the iPhone 17 Pro regular size.
And you got the blue
regular
one?
size.
The blue
I got the blue one.
You didn't get orange?
I got the blue one.
Why not
I didn't get orange because so much of my wardrobe is purple. And that is
fair.
That's a little bit of a cursed. I really
and
like the
purple
orange.
don't go together? Is that true?
If they can, but isn't
you
that like a
wanna-
sports team color? I think that's a
Like
sports team combo.
it's giving Dunkin' Donuts a little too hard.
Oh my god, FedEx! It's FedEx.
It's Denny's
FedEx.
looks. Oh, it is. It's FedEx. It is.
And I already had this nice little purple wallet thing, and I'm like, that's not going to go with the orange quite as well. I brought it to an Apple store, and I was testing it and everything.
Oh,
so I
good
was
for
like,
you.
I'll
That's
go
smart.
with.
And you didn't get
I'll
the
go with
biggest
the
one. You
blue.
got the little Pro.
This was a month and a half of testing, just because I was like, I think the perfect font size is 6.5. Going to 6.7 is tolerable. Going to 6.3 is tolerable. 6.9, my hand hurts. I have big hands for a lady. I have piano hands. But like, I write a lot. I type a lot. I journal a lot. I got to preserve the wrist. And I had gotten to a point with my 14 Pro Max where I had a little wristlet, kind of like a Wiimote wristlet on it. And sometimes it felt like a weapon where I was going to kill someone accidentally. Well, it's like,
It's a nunchuck.
I was like, you know what?
The nunchuck phone.
6.3. It's a little smaller than I would like, but I can live with it. And I just can't do 6.9.
Well, I've got something for you, actually. You might want to look at the new Apple iPhone Pocket.
Good Lord, I lost my damn mind.
I'm so mad I couldn't get one.
Okay, we are on opposite. We are on opposite ends of the spectrum.
We are, and I love and respect that about you so much. And I'm glad that you were sane and I am not. But if I had not had a severe neck injury that prevented me from being able to get in like the queue, I would have one of those things. And I'm so mad. I won't pay StockX prices.
Girl, why? Girl, why?
So
It's
this
a
is,
sock.
I know, but I like the long one. I like the one that I could like sling.
You could knit that for $16. I'm sure you could knit. You know, I'm pretty sure I saw someone.
I'm not going to knit anything.
You could pay someone on Etsy. I'm sure there are Etsy dupes out there just because
already,
it's
probably, right.
Like they're already out there.
I'm a hype beast. It's the allure of the whole thing, and it was only $250.
Only $250. It was $250.
It is, of course, Issei Miyake design, the guy who did Steve Jobs' turtlenecks. If that means anything to you,
it's
available
so dumb.
On Apple.com now. It's get something special. It's a holiday gift to hold your.
Absolutely not.
No, don't, huh?
No. So my best friend is a knitter. The day of, she was just like, I know you're not going to, but just so you know, don't buy it. I can make it. And I can make it for like
pennies.
$10 to $20.
Yeah.
Pennies.
Pennies.
And she's like, the design's not even that hard for me to knit. And I was like, first of all, you don't have to knit one for me.
People are pointing out that it is the same design as the Borat Mankini.
Well, that's cursed.
I wouldn't recommend wearing it that way.
No, that I don't want to think about that. Oh my God, Victoria, please make Sora videos with this.
Oh.
No, I could, but
Miyake Sake. It features a singular 3D knitted construction that is a result of research and development.
It's just knitted. It's just knitted. You know, I can do 3D knitting too because I'm in 3D life.
It's pretty funny. It is pretty. It's a strange thing. Now they do have it in purple.
Okay,
that's the smaller one. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
purple's great.
You can carry that around your wrist. You see, like that, like a little purse, like a little purse for you. No.
Okay.
Or
I can defend
sock.
the crossbody. I can defend the crossbody chain that they came out with. That you may or may not like it. I can defend it. I had a similar. I had a bandolier, which is basically what that is. For a couple of years. That I can't with the pocket. I can't. There's a sock. Is a sock. Just buy a sock and stick your iPhone in a sock, and you have the same thing. It's the same thing. It's a sock.
Somebody has in our Discord chat room put together the mankini and the sock, and there is a stunning resemblance, I must say.
That's just so
That's
cursed.
so
you don't
wrong.
need AI to make
You don't
that
need
curse.
AI,
That's
just
cursed on
Photoshop.
its own.
Yeah, we were all a little puzzled when they announced that. Like,
That's just
I mean, it's a weird collab, but at the same time, like I can't think about how their marketing stuff works. It definitely was not on my like list of things, but I wasn't. I mean, like, yeah, I'm a hype beast. I'm not really mad that I couldn't spend $250 on one. It's fine. But yeah,
you may not know, Victoria, but Christina has a collection of merch from defunct companies like
Yes.
Theranos.
I love that. That's just being a history collector
It
with
is. It's
taste.
history. What is your latest piece, Christina? Anything new?
God, do I have anything? No, I was trying to
You
think.
got the Theranos one you were looking for.
Yeah, I got the Theranos thing that I was looking for. I have things from like FTX, from Silicon Valley Bank, from like
Nice.
Washington Mutual, Enron. It was a big one. Fire Festival, which was great. I got like official Fire Festival merch, Movie Pass. What did I get recently?
Movie pass.
Yeah. Oh, this was good.
Movie Pass is back, by the way.
I know it is, but it still it doesn't make it any less funny to still wear a Movie Pass shirt in public. Genuinely, people go crazy. They're like, "Oh my God, what?" Like, I have an Internet Explorer shirt. I'm like an open, like, I will.
Which
like,
Theranos thing did you get? You got a mug?
No, actually, somebody got me like it was like a fleece, like one of the Columbia fleeces. Yeah, it was expensive, and it was
a fake blood drop on it.
No, it had the logo, so it was just kind of
the
like
logo.
so it's not the Patagonia, it's the Columbia, but it's like the Patagonia, so it's good. No, what did I get recently? Oh, a friend of mine was at a thrift store in New York and sent me, I checked the tag. Now, this doesn't mean that it couldn't still have been a dupe of something, but it looks authentic. But there was like some sort of like 1999 like internet's like World's Fair thing like that Microsoft put on or something, and it's hilarious, and it was like $19, so my friend got it for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to keep track of this stuff, It's going to be all, it's like the Internet Archive for merch.
I agree. And a thing like this, though, it hits two areas for me. One, it's ridiculous for all the reasons you said, Victoria. It's so dumb. But then it's also like the hype beast part of me is like, okay, but I kind of want this. Like, I'm still mad that I didn't buy the $400 Apple book, the coffee table book, because now I can't get it and I'll have to spend way more on it and I'm not going to. But I should have just bought it when it came out just to have it. I should probably just be less of a consumer is the real truth. Honestly, I should just be better with my money and be less of a
I feel
consumer.
like that coffee table book will be in bookstores at a reduced price.
No, Apple sold it and stopped selling it.
And that was it.
And that was it. And the ones that are on eBay are ridiculously expensive, and I'm not doing that. But
Here's another version of the Apple iPhone sock, particularly for this panel.
Thank you for putting me in the purple one.
I was going to say, thank you for putting me in the
that.
orange. I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
I'm a purple girly. I love purple. So
I love purple as well, but I had to get the orange phone because I was just like, I needed everybody to know that I had the new phone.
And not only that, I got an orange case, so I am doubly.
I think the orange.
Yeah.
The orange. I don't like orange, but I like that orange.
Yeah,
I think
it's not my favorite color,
it's-
but there's something about it. It just shouts.
It does.
It shouts color saturation for the first freaking time on the Pro lineup.
That was the thing. Right now, I did love when. What was it? Was it the 15? No, it was the 14 when they had the purple color.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had the purple Pro, and I was mad about it because it was not proper purple.
I agree.
It needs to be saturated.
I agree, but it was still an improvement. I'm still mad about the elimination of rose gold. I will never be over that. I will never be over that ever.
You and my spouse, he literally said that today. He was just going like ranting against the orange one just because he was just like, it's never going to be rose gold. They've never recovered over the elimination of rose gold.
Really? He's holding out hope for rose gold?
Every year when the phones come out, he just looks at the colors and he goes, there's no rose gold.
Really?
I'll just get, no.
It's all about the rose gold, huh?
No, my spouse and Christina are the two people I know who are just like holding the torch for the rose gold to come back. But it was a great color.
I like the colorful colors, the colorways that really say that's why I like
agree.
the orange. It shouts orange.
Well, I can't be mad at like the blue, like My husband got the. Did he get the silver? I think he got the silver. He got the regular size.
Blue's
Pro Max.
kind of non-committal. It's just non-committal. It's like
I'm
I
just
think it
like,
looks good.
it's not Pacifica Blue though. They peaked at Pacifica Blue on the 12th.
Yes.
I
That
just
was- that
gotta
was a good-
say,
yes, I
that
got
was
the
a
gold
great
that year.
blue.
But yeah, but it was one of those things
you mean
like
the Chrysler Pacifica?
it was a really
No.
nice. It was a nice, really pretty.
was
like,
like-
it was
if
it
you
was a
look at
light
the
blue. It was
12.
for the 13. It was the 13. It was the 13.
And they
No,
called
the 12 is the one with the Pacifica.
And they called
Oh,
it
okay.
Pacifica?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought
think it was
I
called
thought-
Did you
I thought
call
it
it
was the
Pacifica
13,
or did
but yeah.
Apple call it Pacifica? Oh,
Hold
they
on,
did. They call it
I'm just-
Pacific Blue.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, Pacific
Oh,
Blue.
that's a
It was
nice
blue.
color.
It's
It
a
looks-
great blue.
Yeah, it
Every
looks like
blue
the
since.
ocean. Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
that one.
great
Yeah.
blue.
Okay. I was thinking of the light blue that they did for the 13.
I think I
Nah,
had this.
this is
I think
the-
I had this.
Yeah,
I
I know,
had that
yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
Okay, because I had that one just in the goldish colorway because it still had rosy tints, and I wasn't ready to give up on like the fact that they've taken away my beloved. But I have to say, like, we've been begging them to do bold colors. They did at least give us two fairly bold colors. The orange is very bold.
It's extremely bold.
I wish that I'd had more time like you did, Victoria, in terms of like the sizing, because I've been getting the Pro Max since they've had the option. Ironically, because I have small hands, and if they're all going to be too big, I might as well get the best battery life and like biggest screen possible, because I'm gonna have to use two hands regardless, even with a mini. Let me just go all in. That said, my only thing is, by making this slightly bigger than they made like the 16, I do feel it more. And I'm like, if I could have done it again, I probably would have just gotten the regular Pro size, which I've never had any like need to go smaller than that before.
I have bad eyes, so I was using the Pro and the larger phones for several years because I could really crank up that text. And,
I do that too, because as an old man, I
could-
want to have the biggest text on the screen. As
I
possible.
want the biggest. I want you to be able to read my text messages from Guam. That's how little I want to strain my eyes. But basically, I saw the 17 Pro Max at the Apple event. I held it in person. I went, I think this is too big for my hand. And if I don't want, I already have the little Wiimote thing on the 14 Pro Max. I don't need this thing hitting my face when I'm tired at night in bed trying to watch a video and I fall asleep and my phone hits me in the face. I don't need to have a black eye because of my phone. So while I was testing the Apple Watches, Apple had given me a test iPhone 17. And I was like, well, what if I went super low tech? What if I didn't get a Pro?
Did you
Let me
think
try
about the
this
Air
smaller size.
at all?
No, because I don't believe in one camera being four
Yeah.
cameras. That's some marketing hoo-ha.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No, you know who that phone is for? I figured it out. Like it was funny because during the Apple event, I was in New York at an offsite at DeepMind actually, and I was talking with some colleagues, including some people who used to work at Apple, and we were talking. I was like trying to figure out who this phone is for, and then it hit me, and I went, "Oh, this is a phone for like male tech executives of a certain age who don't care, who either are using this as a secondary phone or as a primary because they don't take photos and they don't care about having to have, good battery life or anything else because it doesn't matter to them because they have someone else managing their life for them." Mm-hmm. And that's who the phone is for. And I think that is why it has not sold, because as pretty as it is, and it is gorgeous, and I'm very excited about what it means for a future foldable. For most people, the iPhone 17, I think, is actually the best phone this year.
It's a great phone.
The price is great. The specs are fantastic. Like I think the iPhone 17 is actually an amazing phone. I wish it made a 17 Plus, but yeah.
I just spent about last 2 months using the loaner iPhone 17 just for testing because I really wanted to know whether I could live with the smaller size screen.
Right.
And I wanted to know if I could live without the third telephoto lens. And
Right.
yes, I can live with the smaller screen. I cannot live without the telephoto lens because there were many stray cats in Italy that I wanted to take pictures of and
Right.
to zoom in on their furry little faces. And I failed frequently with the iPhone 17. They were furry little potatoes, and I would have to grab a Pro phone out of one of my family members' pockets and be like, I need this photo of this cat, stat. So that's how I ended up deciding.
The 8X
what
is
phone
really
I was gonna
amazing,
get.
actually.
It really is.
Yeah.
And
I use it all the
and I
time.
go to concerts.
Yeah,
I go to
perfect
concerts,
for
but
that.
I don't pay for the good seats, so I need to zoom in and see what these little dancing K-pop boys look
Okay,
like. So
but how many Eras concerts did you see?
0.
How many did you see, Christina?
4.
She's winning. How many K-pop concerts have you seen, Victoria?
In the last year, 3.
See,
You got it's priorities. It's just priorities.
It's priorities.
It is. Did you see Blackpink in Queens when they were there in July?
No. I saw Stray Kids twice, and then I saw
Nice.
Kai from EXO. I'm kind of into the boy bands because I don't know why. I am just like seeking an old past where I used to listen. I never saw the Backstreet Boys in concert. So
I saw them at the Sphere. It was incredible.
At the Sphere. This
Yes,
is the comeback tour.
Yeah, no, they did a
Backstreet's
25th anniversary thing
back.
for Millennium. It was amazing. It was one of the most incredible shows I've ever seen in my life. Like, if I will say this right now, I will sell everything that I own if Taylor Swift does like a residency
In the
at
Sphere?
the Sphere, because I know I'll have to, because the pricing will be so absurd because there's only 3,000 like seats. But no, and I was off of a red eye from India, so I flew from Bangalore to London to Vegas.
I think you did the show that night, didn't you? Our show?
No, I did it the following. No, that was for the Eras tour where I went from Seoul to Seattle to Vancouver.
You did this a lot. Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's how I knew that I could manage it, is because I did Twit and then went to the Eras concert, despite having just been on like a 17-hour flight, and I was fine.
It was that was the last show of the
It
tour,
was the final show, and I had the opportunity to go, and I went. But I saw Backstreet Boys. I'd already had the tickets booked. Fortunately, it was the following night, but I arrived in Vegas at like 7:00, like Friday, like after traveling. I think it was 26 hours. I think
So the Sphere is a good place to see a show. It seems like it would be. It seems like amazing.
Well, and I think it depends on what they do with it. What they did with it was incredible. They had a lot of like moving kind of background stuff, and the best way I can describe it, it was like I was in 3D, like using 3D glasses, but I didn't have them on, and so it seemed like everything was coming at you. Yeah, but you're not wearing glasses, but it looks like everything is coming at you. There's rumbles in the seats. The seating is, I don't think there's probably a bad seat in the house. They have it really well arranged, and the set list, I'm sure that it was pre-records. I don't care. They were doing some live singing. You could tell they'd choreographed stuff, but you could see, just emotions coming around. It was an incredible time. Everybody wore white. Everybody was like on the same page of the program. It was not like weirdo, like overly invested Backstreet Boy fans, which I was a little bit afraid of at first. It was like mostly like just casuals like me who haven't thought about them, in 20 years, but had the time of their life. And
I remember seeing a video of them emerging from the stage.
Yes,
So they had
they come up.
They have this incredible
Yes.
video playing, and you're not really paying attention to the little stage down there, and they just kind of appear.
And they just kind of appear. They just kind of come up, and then there are various other things happen. Like there are various other platform moving things throughout the show. Like it was really,
it's good
really
to
incredible.
use that venue properly. So it sounds
Yeah,
like
no,
you
I-
did.
I've yet to see.
Who would you like to see there? Who would you like to see there, Victoria?
EXO.
EXO.
That's my K-pop boy band, third gen.
I bet they'd kill it.
They would, except it's not easy being an EXO fan just because they're in a lot of legal disputes at the moment, and there's 9 members.
Are they fighting their label?
Yes, they are fighting. K-pop label stuff is nuts, but they're fighting the label, so they're having an album come out next month. But there's rumors there's only going to be 6 versus 9, and the Korean men have to go through the military service, so they just finished. All the members have just finished their military service. It's the first time in like 6 years. So everyone's like, "Oh, reunion." Oh no, we're not getting all of them. So it's a very trying time. Thank you for your prayers. But yeah, I would love to see them at the Sphere because that seems amazing. And I haven't been to the Sphere yet. Every single time, I go to CES, I see the Sphere. I wave
and
at
you
the
never have a
Sphere.
chance, right?
But I never have a chance to go.
No, because you're doing too many other things. I really wanted to see, and I hope that they continue. But I really want, and I haven't had a chance. And I'm not going to AWS reInvent this year. I don't think. Hope not. Nothing against that event. I just don't really want to go to Vegas in December. But I really wanted to see like the Wizard of Oz cut that they did.
They did the Wizard of Oz. They kind of outpainted This is the 1939 Wizard of Oz, and they outpainted the film to
they
fill
used
the sphere.
Yeah, they used Google Cloud and some of the Gemini models for it. And like, I really would love to see that experience. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Backstreet's back. They're going to be there the day after Christmas through February.
Yes, they did a second residency. In fact, it's funny, I went first, and then I convinced a few of my girlfriends to go. And some of us are like, should we go a second time? So we're thinking about it.
What are the dates?
The day after Christmas to the day after Valentine's. So you can. And
it's every weekend. So they do it like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Because they're old.
Damn it. I'm not going to. CES, that's not going to.
CES is during CES.
It is during CES. If
you stayed a little longer, you could go to the show.
If you stay through Sunday, Victoria, it would be worth it.
Or come early.
I am going to be there the Saturday before CES.
If you're going to be there the Saturday before CES, you need to look into it, because I'm telling you,
All right. I'm going to take a break so Victoria can buy tickets. You're watching This Week in Tech with Victoria Song, who is a little preoccupied right now. She's the senior reviewer at The Verge, and the wonderful Christina Warren back in town after her year. Can I add? When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about DeepMind, because I don't know what you can talk about, but that must have been something.
I learned so much.
They're amazing. It's amazing what they're doing. It's really amazing. Good. We'll talk about that in a bit and a lot more. You're watching This Week in Tech. Our show today brought to you by Zscaler, the world's largest cloud security platform. You know, we talk so much about AI on this show, on our show about AI, intelligent machines, and it's pretty clear that AI is an amazing boon for business, that the potential rewards are too great to ignore. It's also clear, because we talk about it on Security Now, that the risks are there, whether it is through loss of sensitive data, through using AI, public and private AI, at your business. There's also the risk that bad guys have really become very accomplished using AI. Attacks against enterprises are through the roof. Generative AI is increasing the opportunities for threat actors. They are using AI for creating malware, for helping them create phishing lures that are impeccable, indistinguishable from the real thing. They are using AI to automate data extraction, so they are very fast and very efficient. You know, this is a big problem. There are 1.3 million instances of social security numbers leaked to AI applications inadvertently by employees using AI at work. ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot saw nearly 3.2 million data violations. Companies have to pay a little bit of attention. You know, they can't just jump into this. This is why you need a modern approach. You need Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI. It helps you fight AI-enabled hackers by removing your attack surface. It secures your data everywhere. It safeguards your use of public and private AI. It protects against ransomware. It protects against AI-powered phishing attacks. Yes, it does all of that. Just check out what Shiva, the Director of Security and Infrastructure at Zuora, says about using Zscaler. Watch this.
AI provides tremendous opportunities, but it also brings tremendous security concerns when it comes to data privacy and data security. The benefit of Zscaler with ZIA rolled out for us right now is giving us the insights of how our employees are using various Gen AI tools. So ability to monitor the activity, make sure that what we consider confidential and sensitive information according to companies' data classification does not get fed into the public LLM models, etc.
With Zero Trust plus AI from Zscaler, you can thrive in the AI era. You could stay ahead of the competition, and you can remain resilient even as threats and risks evolve. Learn more at zscaler.com/security. That's zscaler.com/security. And we thank them so much for their support of This Week in Tech. Yeah, I'm looking at this Sphere schedule. There's nobody I'm really dying to see. Somebody said, what if Pink Floyd did The Wall there? That would be cool.
Yes, it would. And I think they did do something. They did. I don't know if it was it was The Wall, but I know that they did something with the Grateful Dead. Yeah. And they've done a couple of other things. From the reviews that I've read, and obviously everybody's musical tastes are different, but from the reviews that I've read, Backstreet Boys was to date the most impressive use of the whole venue. Like even if you're not into like the music or whatever, like they did the best job with like the tech and taking advantage of it. But I know like Pearl Jam did a thing, and like I think that it's cool. Like as the space evolves and as they learn to use things more, I think we'll see more and more really interesting applications of it as a venue, which is really exciting. And then I personally love it because the Venetian is my favorite like casino on the Strip, and it's far away from everything else, but I much prefer to stay there because I like the rooms better, and it's close to
Can you walk to the Sphere from the Venetian?
Oh yeah. There's a connecting bridge. It's literally part of like, the Venetian's. Yes, so it's super nice. And so
God, I remember every January going to CES and seeing them build that thing for years. First, it was just a pit, and the walls started to come up. It's nice to see it operational. The Wizard of Oz is going to be a long-term thing there. They're going to use that in between shows. So I think they anticipate families going to see that and so forth. All right, enough of the Sphere. Did you get your tickets, Victoria?
No, I'm being good. I'll think about it some more.
Think about it some more. If you can find somebody else who might be there with you and like see if you can like go in with somebody, especially if you're already going to be there, you might be able to get like, you won't have to pay for like lodging or whatever. Like, cause that was the biggest thing. Like lodging costs as much, like cost more than the tickets. So
we went 2 years ago to see the first Formula One race in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah. I bet that was amazing.
So expensive.
I really wanted to go to that for the Hello Kitty collab, but like there was no way that was going to happen.
The Hello Kitty what?
They had a Hello Kitty Formula One collab in Vegas, and there's actually now a whole Hello Kitty by Formula One like collection. And
that's amazing.
Are they trying to attract young girls to the Formula One fan base?
Leo, are you not familiar with the fact that like the largest growing user base of like Formula One fans are like younger women, like far younger than me, because of the Netflix show?
Because of Drive to Survive.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well,
it
is true that the drivers are all young and gorgeous. It seems like they're almost hired for their looks.
Well, I mean, what's happened is they all know the backstory and the lore, and so they become invested in a way that's different than other things.
Watching Drive to Survive, yeah.
Same. And actually what originally got me, because my husband's always been into Formula One and I've always been like, whatever, but I saw the documentary Senna, which was directed by the same guy who directed Amy.
Very good,
And that documentary, and I saw that, I think it came out in 2011, and it was so tragic. But when I saw that documentary, that completely changed my entire perspective on the sport. And I think the Drive to Survive is the same sort of thing, where it kind of unlocks in you and you go, oh, there are these other layers happening, and there is this other, stuff going on that you don't get with a lot of like.
Are you happy about Apple acquiring the rights to it?
Yeah, I mean, that'll make it cheaper for me to like.
Yeah, I already buy F1 TV. I don't have to pay for 2 subscriptions.
Right. That's worried
though. I hope they keep the team. I hope they keep all of this different screens. I hope, in fact, they apply some of their tech know-how to make it even better. And maybe they'll put it on the Vision Pro. I would actually buy a Vision Pro to watch the Formula One race. That's the only reason I can think of to buy a Vision Pro. Maybe that's why they bought the rights. $750 million they spent for that. Let's see. Maybe they'll use the profits from the iPhone Pocket to defray that cost.
Oh, good Lord.
AMD. Hey, congratulations, AMD. Their quarterly results are out. They are now 25% of all x80 chips, 33% of all desktop systems. Big Red is slowly but surely taking over from Intel, which is slowly but surely collapsing.
So sad.
Oh, just the saddest march to death from Intel. It's just like every year. It's just so sad.
But honestly, I wouldn't buy I wouldn't buy another Intel PC. I have an AMD Strix Halo. I love it. I just wouldn't buy another one. And Apple, that was probably the nail in the coffin when Apple said, "Look, we can design better silicon," and they did, and they shook the market up like crazy. It's kind of sad.
It's just like kind of hard to trace back where Intel just started falling apart on every single level, but
it sure did.
They missed out on mobile.
Yep.
But at least they had like the computers, and then now they don't have the computers so much anymore. So it's really nuts. It
is.
Yeah.
Because it's Intel, right? But they were pushed in so many different directions and focused on so many different areas and really took their eye off the ball. I think, though, like Lisa Su deserves a lot of credit for coming into AMD and really
agree. Amazing.
really addressing their challenges. And, she had a strong background. She's incredibly smart, incredibly technical, and she knows semiconductors really well. And she came in and I think she looked at kind of like what their product line was and where they needed to be. And, Ryzen and the whole like kind of chiplet system and whatnot, she really got ahead of that, right? Like, I think that she kind of figured out, okay, and because they could have gone one of two paths. They could have really doubled down on GPUs, which might in some ways have been good, but to be honest with you, I don't think they were in a position to compete with NVIDIA, and I don't think they would have done well, if they'd really like tripled down on that. Or she could go after making the chips better. And by doing that, not only disrupting, we saw it in the consumer space first, but then it went into the server space, which has been Intel's, thing for forever, right? And I think that coupled with processing changing, right, with Intel not able to get their nanometers is low enough, right? Like they weren't able to get that performance on the chips that AMD was, and that was even before Apple and everybody else starts to come in. And then NVIDIA, proves that at this point, GPUs are more important in some ways than CPUs for more and more tasks. And like an Intel who's, started and stopped GPU efforts multiple times, they don't have anything to even go there, right? Like I have this question with people sometimes where it's like, I might have even said this on this show before, but like I have this, it's a fun party question. Like, what company has screwed themselves more, Intel or Boeing, right? Like which one, right? Because it's really sad because to your point, they lost mobile and they lost that for a lot of reasons, but that was surmountable. Like that was not an area that they had to win. I think that I don't know if it was hubris. I don't know if it was, just technical things not coming together. I think a lot of it was leadership because again, like Lisa Su, like really, really dialed in when she joined AMD and like made great strategic decision after great strategic decision. And,
it's such a fumble in some senses too, because, when you talk these component companies outside of the nerds that we are, normal people know Intel. Like they're marketing into bum 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 bum. Yeah. Like
we will know that. It doesn't matter if you're like one day old. It's like Beyonce, it.
So to
just like Beyonce. Wow.
She's not wrong though. There's a period of time where I was writing copy for Qualcomm, just, being a young writer trying to cut my teeth and get in the business. And the thing I used to always joke about was how much of a chip on their shoulder Qualcomm had about how no one knew who Qualcomm was. It was one of those things where they're like, we want to get people caring about modems. And I was like, good luck to you with that outside of a certain niche. But, they were just always so mad that Intel's name recognition was so strong. So to go from that to a point where like, it's such a fumble if you really think about it. That is so hard.
If you play that, people know what that is, right?
You do. You know it. It immediately. I've said for years, like I think that them owning their own fabs has been obviously a great benefit, and I don't think it was a mistake for them to continue to do that. What I do think they should have done, ideally, when it was clear Atom and their mobile stuff wasn't going to work, because they had the opportunity to do this, they could have. They bought a company, I think, that was an ARM licensee, and there might have been some legal regulation stuff around it, but that would have been surmountable because it's Intel. They should have become an ARM licensee and then done some fabless designs, and it had that as like an option, and then been able to pivot into that if they needed to for lower powered devices. Because one of the big things, at least on the consumer side, in desktops it was fine, you get a big enough, PSU, whatever, but on mobile, like, and this, Victoria, because you've tested way more laptops than I have, like the battery life and the power performance was just awful, right? I mean, it was so bad that Apple had to literally make their own chips, I think, earlier than they probably would have wanted to, right? Like they were happy to make them on for mobile devices, but they really had to like turn all their corners into prioritizing the laptop chips because they were awful, right?
They saw the writing on the wall. They knew.
Well, and granted, Apple could have made design concessions to make the thermals and whatnot better, but it didn't change the underlying issue that like those chips just, were constrained and had problems in certain ways and weren't going to the next level. Whereas AMD first in desktop and then they got into mobile or laptops was doing better. And then Apple Silicon and now Qualcomm, some of their stuff too, like is just leaps and bounds in terms of like power to performance. And Intel, even their newest ones, because I bought one of the Ultra, 7 whatever things that promised that it was going to be better. and it's not. I mean, I guess it's better than whatever, the core stuff was, but it's not demonstrably so. And either, it just still feels like, a traditional like.
Well, and now, ironically, Qualcomm is the big player in Windows machines with Copilot plus PCs, and I'm seeing a lot of.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
it's so funny going from 2013.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I bet that has. I
For
was
a
going to
while,
say
it
that
looked
that's
like
be so funny for you.
their only
like you used
business
to write the copy, and now.
Yeah.
Their only business was being a patent troll. We got all these patents, and that's going to be our business.
That
and
was literally
the Snapdragon X and the Elite, and now the next generation, which is coming. They're great battery life, performance. It's almost as if they looked at what Apple was doing and said, wait a minute, why aren't we doing that?
Well, in fact, that's exactly what happened. Is they bought, I think it was like Nuvia, I can't remember.
Nuvia, yes.
Nuvia, yeah. They bought Nuvia, and Nuvia was created by some of the creators of Apple Silicon.
Yeah, they basically bought the Apple design team.
Yeah, which is not a bad decision, right? I mean,
that's
honestly,
how you get. That's how. This is what we were talking about with Masimo. You want to be competitive. You hire the people away. You offer more money.
And Apple did that too. I mean, they hired other people too, but I mean, when they acquired PA Semi, like that was the basis for what became, Apple Silicon. And, eventually they also hired some really, really smart chip designers and a lot of other people and worked really hard. But I mean, they acquired that license and they acquired a lot of that team led to the creation of the A series, chips. And so, which, became eventually Apple Silicon. So that's how you have to do it sometimes. And I think it's great that Qualcomm has done that. Yeah. In the chat, Eat the Oligarchs is saying that Intel sold their ARM business in 2006. Yes, but they also, I think there was something else they'd acquired, I think after that they could have still done. But regardless, I think getting rid of that license business was, in retrospect, even in 2006, that was a mistake because you did have ARM processors in, phones at the time. And they were just so committed to the Atom train, which, just never took off. And I don't know. I also have a Strix Halo system. I have the Framework desktop.
That's what I have. I love it.
Yeah, I love it so much.
I love it.
It's such a great little machine. And
what do you run local AIs on it?
Yes, that's exactly what I
bought. What models are you liking right now?
Well, Gemma, I think has some great models, and obviously I used to work on that with some of those folks, and so I have a lot of love for the Gemma team. But I run the Quinn models. I run like the
Quinn has
very
some amazing models. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Some of the new Quinn stuff is really good. I have a MacBook Pro that has 128 gigs of RAM. And I can do a lot of that on my MacBook Pro, but the nice thing about having like the framework is like I basically just make it my dedicated like local LLM machine.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm using OpenAI's GPT OSS 120. Yes.
That's great. That's a great model.
Very big. The fact that I can run that giant model.
That's the thing, right?
Amazing.
I mean. Yeah. Obviously, the Mac is a little bit faster in some ways because the unified memory is faster, but
I'm really interested. Apple has such an opportunity here because they are running some, they're not using CUDA. They're not using,
no,
but they are running some really amazing hardware with dedicated AI circuitry and, as you say, unified memory. And there really is an opportunity for Apple to really look good in the local AI space.
Oh, for sure. Well, what's been interesting,
of course, they're going to use Google's. They're spending $1 billion a year to use Google's model.
Hey,
I don't know if it's Gemma. What are they using?
Gemini. Gemini is what the rumor is, and who knows if that's what that circumstance is. I mean, look, they early on, people forget this, like the iPhone. I mean, part of the reason Steve Jobs was so upset was that Eric Schmidt was on the board, and they
hated Google.
But the default apps on the original iPhone, YouTube was a dedicated app, right? Google was the default search engine, right? Like Google Maps. I remember
waiting in line for the original iPhone. I was sitting behind. And this was up in Petaluma. They'd obviously come up because they wanted to avoid the lines in San Francisco or Mountain View. 3 guys from Google. Who were buying the original iPhone. They said, we were up all night last night making Google Reader work on the iPhone. Google was very committed to the iPhone platform at the beginning. I mean, that was a big part of Google put a lot of effort into it with Apple help. I think the rumor was Apple helped with the YouTube.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
1,000% they did. But my point was being that like for a phone that did not have apps on it.
Right.
3 of the default things, like the default search engine was Google. YouTube was a dedicated app. Maps was Google Maps.
So they've been partners despite the battle over Android.
Well, no. That then led to the battle of Android. So that was the original partnerships. Eric Schmidt, who is the CEO of Google, was on the board of directors at Apple.
Right.
He sees this, realizes that this is according to Fred's book, name of which I can't think about right now. It has a dog is in the title. It'll come to me. But Fred Fogelstein's book about the history of the battle basically says that Google had been working on a BlackBerry clone because they bought Andy.
Their first Google phone was going to be basically a BlackBerry clone, and when they saw the iPhone, they completely switched. They said stop. They literally stopped the development cold.
And then when Steve Jobs got wind of that, Eric Schmidt, had to recuse himself and then eventually leave the board. And then that led to a bunch of the lawsuits in the Cold War. And then in 2013, I think it was like they, kicked, Google Maps off. And
it was originally called Dogfight. They now call it Battle of the Titans for some reason. They figured nobody would know what Dogfight was all about. But that book is fantastic and goes through the whole history. I have to read that. I have not read it.
Yeah. It's a really good book.
Although it's ancient history now. They're back in bed together.
Well, I mean, again, enemy of my friend is my enemy. I mean, it's interesting too, because if you look at it was always this weird thing. It's like, okay, we won't be on the phone necessarily the same way. And we, we'll kick you off the default positions, but no, we would still very much like to get however many billions of dollars, you will pay us for the default search, engine position and other stuff. And so, look, I have to assume that the reporting, I have no inside information at all, and I don't even know if this deal is real, but I have to assume that the reporting from, Mark Gurman and others is true, that they've, done kind of an internal bake-off and figured out, okay, what companies can we use to fortify Siri? And at a certain point, a lot of the models are fairly similar, and maybe it comes down to who do we have a existing relationship with of some type, or who do we feel like could be more properly able to fit into our data centers better, because that's some of the reporting is that not only will the model be a white labeled version of Gemini, but it will run completely in Apple's data centers, and that's obviously means I'm sure there'll be modifications to how the TPUs or whatever systems they would have set up would work, and maybe even running directly on Apple Silicon. Who knows? That would be an interesting thing to think about too, to your earlier point about, using these things to run the inference and run the stuff themselves. We'll see, but I just want a better Siri. I don't care who powers it.
Lord Almighty, if I could get a better Siri, that would just, testing Apple intelligence has been a test in patience.
Well, speaking of tests and patience, I don't want to use Amazon's Echo, even A-Word Plus. I don't want to use it. I really don't want to use Google's voice assistant. I guess I'm going to be getting Gemini in my Google devices soon. I don't know when. I would like something privacy forward. I would like to use HomeKit. But it needs to have a working AI. It needs a working Siri.
Listen.
Viable.
Workout Buddy sucks on the Apple Watch.
You left that on? I turned that off immediately.
I left it on for a little bit, and then I was just like, I thank you for telling me that. It's so annoying because it'll try and tell you like, oh, you listened to this music while you had this milestone, and so you hit a mile in your run, and they're like, you were listening to Stray Kids when you hit that run. And I was like, yeah, I know, because I'm still playing the same song. So I gotta say, I just really want Siri to.
It's kind of just like it's just got the same problem Siri does, right? It's just not smart.
No,
it's not. To be fair, like obviously I mostly test wearables and whatnot, and Gemini is new onto the wrist. Gemini not that smart either, but
that's the funny thing. Gemini is smart, but the problem is if it's in a watch, it's probably not that smart.
Well, the problem is that there are multiple Geminis.
Right.
Yeah. And so the models that you use in one context aren't necessarily the models you use in another, and that's a problem.
Are they trying to run it on devices that wide? That's just got to be a really.
It depends.
Yeah, I think it's on device. I believe it's Well, you do need an internet connection, so maybe not. But
Yeah, on the wearable, I don't know. On the phone, I know that they have it's like Gemini 3N or whatever, and like there's a way that it will run locally depending on if your phone has the specs powerful enough. And this is actually very similar to the Gemma models, but there's like a way to run it locally to do things, and then there's also a way to have it connected to like the more full functioning Gemini in the cloud.
Let me take a break because I want to come back and talk about DeepMind's SEMA, which is a really interesting 3D world simulator, and they're using the goat simulator to train it. It's kind of interesting. When we come back, we'll talk about training AIs with goats with Victoria Song, senior tech reviewer at The Verge. I see you're wearing. I also want to ask you about your halo or your aura rather. You have the new ceramic aura. It's very pretty, and I want to ask you about that too, because I am also an aura wearer. Also here, the return of Christina Warren, now at GitHub, senior dev advocate at GitHub. Great to have you both.
Great being here.
Our show today brought to you by my mattress. I told you I check my sleep score every morning. If I get over 80, I think, wow, something's going right. I did something right. Got over 80. I'm going for the crown though. You get on your Aura ring, if you get 88, I think, or higher, you get a little crown. And I've been getting crowns more often than not, and I really have to attribute it to my Helix mattress, my Helix sleep mattress. It's the best mattress I've ever had. So let me, here in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is coming. It's chillier. We're going to be spending more time indoors. This will be a great time to invest in a new mattress to help you stay comfortable inside your Helix mattress. You spend more than just, 8 hours a day on your mattress. It's not just for sleeping. It's for relaxing. I love curling up with a good book, listening to music, watching TV. And the thing about the Helix mattress is you could spend a lot of time on it and you feel great. You could no more waking up in the middle of the night, bathed in sweat, no back pain. That's a big one, right? What I found out, and the reason we got the Helix Sleep is that after between 6 and 10 years, you should replace your mattress because they start to sag, they start to wear. And we'd had ours for 8 years. I thought, it's time. I did some research, and man, there was no question. Once I looked at all the reviews, all the awards, I'm going with Helix Sleep. No motion transfer. Don't settle for a mattress made overseas with low quality, questionable materials. You can smell the container ship on those mattresses, I swear, for a long time. Rest assured, your Helix mattress is assembled, packaged, and shipped from beautiful Arizona. It's fresh, and it's within days of placing your order with really nice materials. The other thing I liked, the first thing I did when I got to helixsleep.com/twit, I took the Helix Sleep quiz. It matches you. They have a whole range of mattresses, matches you with the mattress based on your preferences, your sleep needs. I'm a stomach sleeper. So it was one of the first things. It said, what do you, my wife's a side sleeper. We were able to get a mattress that worked for both of us. There was a recent study, the Wesper Sleep Study, with Helix mattresses. Helix measured the performance of participants after switching from their old mattress to a Helix mattress. And if you're interested in the stats you get from your Aura Ring or your Apple Watch about your sleep, you'll be interested in this. It tracks your movements. It tracks whether you're having deep sleep or you're in REM sleep. Deep sleep's the one you want. That's the, maybe it's half an hour a night, but it's the one that cleanses your brain. It's flushing out all the garbage out of your brain. 82% of the participants in this Wesper Sleep Study saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle on their Helix mattress, moving to the Helix mattress. On average, participants achieved 25 more minutes of deep sleep per night. I've seen that myself. Participants on average achieved 39 more minutes of overall sleep per night. And of course, their sleep scores went up. Recently, Wired tested 100 plus bed-in-a-box mattresses. Wired's top pick, the Helix Midnight Lux Hybrid. That's the one we got. The best bed, they said, the best bed you can buy online. Forbes has tested 90 beds so far this year to find the very best mattress for every sleeper. They also recommend their top pick, the Helix Midnight Lux. I guess we picked the right mattress. This is before those reviews came out, but man, time and time again, Helix Sleep gets the tip-top reviews from all the reviewers. Go to helixsleep.com/twit for 27% off site-wide during their Black Friday sale, Best of Web. That's helixsleep.com/twit for 27% off for the Black Friday sale, Best of Web. This offer ends on December 1st, though, so hurry. Make sure you enter our show name in the post-purchase survey. That way they know that we sent you. That's important to us. And if you're listening after December 1st, don't worry. Still check them out. Always great deals at helixsleep.com/twit. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. helixsleep.com/twit. Smells like Arizona. Smells like deep sleep. SEMA 2. Is that how I pronounce it? Christina, SEMA? We don't.
I have no idea.
You know, we had somebody on who was in charge of the Gemini models, and I said, "Is it Imagine? Is it Imogen? How do you say it?"
Thank you. No, it's both. I've heard both.
She said, "I don't know."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had the same question. I usually said Imogen, and then I got in the habit of saying Imagine, and I was like, "Oh, Imagine makes more sense." I knew VO, but
Banana. Now that's catchy, and I know how to say that one, and it's pretty damn impressive. I might.
Oh, it's incredibly impressive.
Wow.
Nano Banana is amazing. No, Nano Banana is the best. But that's technically Gemini Flash 2.5 images.
Is that what Imagine or Imogen is?
No. They're different models.
That's Nano Banana.
That's Nano Banana's name.
They need to fix this. They need to fix this.
This is why we called it Nano Banana.
Because that's clear and people remember it.
It's not. It was a code name that people figured out and then started to have good experiences with. And then and then DeepMind, decided to take more of an active role after that and continuing to, build into the code name.
But
I would agree with
SEMA
you.
is their model. It's really more of a research project.
Yes.
For 3D worlds, but it's very impressive. I've played with it, and you can expand the world. It's basically like you're in a video game, and you can move through it. It's Goat Simulator. They're using actual games to train it. There's Valheim. There's Goat Simulator. There's it looks like Halo. SEMA is the scalable, instructable, multi-world agent. Is the intent for this to design video games, or what is the?
I don't know. I mean, I think that it could be right. I think it could be.
We should point out you don't work there anymore. You're not speaking for them.
No, I'm not, and I didn't work on or with anybody on this project. I worked on Gemma, and
SEMA does use Gemini models, so
yes, but I worked on the Gemini API, AI Studio, and then Gemma models, and then also some of the things like Imagine and VO, generative media models. But I didn't work on this, and I wasn't associated with this team. So this is new to me as anything else. But from talking with some of the VO team, which do similar things,
VO does this too. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to think that they're probably still trying to figure out exactly what the use cases would be. I know with VO we're actively working with the filmmaking community and figuring out as they were seeing the capabilities. Okay, how can we tailor this and work things out to really make this useful for creators and for people who are going to be using this in production.
Well, this would be, it looks like it would be used for games, right?
Yeah, that's what I would think, right? I would think that it would be potentially a way to, more easily create 3D worlds, which could be useful in a lot of contexts, whether you're wanting to create a game yourself.
Playing Minecraft. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whether you're wanting to create a game, whether you're wanting to train things in games, I could see this. I mean, this is just me, again, completely just extrapolating. I have no knowledge at all. But I mean, if you do believe in a world of, real 3D visualizations and VR and AR and whatnot, this would be potentially a very good way of being able to, expedite the creation of some of those experiences.
We've come such a long way from the Twitch streams of playing Pokemon.
Yeah, but those were amazing, right? That was when Twitch played Pokemon. I mean, that was an incredible achievement.
It was.
And then we continue to get better and better. And this, I think, that's what's so exciting about this.
What blows me away is how fast we're getting better. You know, you talked about Will Smith eating spaghetti. 2 years later, it's perfect.
Right.
It's amazing how fast this is happening.
Well, and I think things like this are really interesting. I don't know. I just had a thought, and I don't know what either of you think of this, but I could see conceivably this could be useful even for game testing, right?
Yeah.
Like because it's able to take instructions so well and pick things up. Like this could be useful, not even just creating and extrapolating these models, but again, if you're feeding these things stuff and going, okay, how can I get better? That's actually a demo that it was not related to SEMA, but was actually a demo that some of my colleagues put together, which is pretty cool, which was a car-based thing. They kind of built like an F1 simulator and fed the game instructions, like for the Steam game, to Gemini, and then had Gemini being able to look at what's happening on the screen. And then with your voice, you could control and say, how do I do this? How can I improve my time around the lap this way? What do I need to look out for? And that, it has been possible for the last, year. They're continuing to make those demos, better. But this looks like this is so much faster to just be able to, in real time, almost like, feed these things, these worlds, and get information, have it play games, which is really, really impressive.
I also think they're using it to train models. So
right.
One of the issues, and a lot of people have talked about this, Fei-Fei Li and Yan Kun and others, is that large language models are language-based. They don't understand the physical world. They don't know what happens when a pen falls off a desk. These models, these tools can be used to kind of train it how physical worlds work, which is an entirely new
Completely
way
different discipline. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't know what their plan is. I'm just impressed as hell with what they're doing.
No, totally. Well, and I would say like it's like looking like through like the the acknowledgments. The special thanks to the game developers who partnered with us. So like there was
they're
a partnership.
working with game. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're working with the with Coffee Stain, with Foul Ball Hangover, with Hello Games, with Keen Software, with Strange Loop, and that's a good thing.
How long before you have? And this was in Her. Remember in Her?
Yeah.
He was playing a game, and Scarlett Johansson is looking over his shoulder, and there's an agent in the game that he's playing. It was snotty as hell, it's like a little bratty agent. And I'm wondering if we're going to have AI assistants in the game playing with us.
Oh, that defeats the purpose of a game, though.
Maybe, though it's like having a little buddy in there with you.
Well, I mean,
Maybe.
I think
It depends.
I think it depends. I think it defeats the purpose of the game, but the one thing I'll push back on, like, let's say you have little kids. Let's say you have people who are of different skill levels who are playing together.
That's fair.
That could actually be a really useful thing, where if you're able to give somebody, a little bit of an AI assistance because they're newer or they don't have, as good motor skills or whatever. Like that could be cool.
That
Victoria,
would be cool.
do you when you play, do you play online with other people?
I hate playing online with other people. I don't need them to see how bad I am, like not coordinated on those
I'm the same
things.
way. There's all these 13-year-old kids who want to beat my...
I used to play some games where like Dota and some of these things where you're playing with other people. Who's the first one dead? Me. Yeah,
Always was me.
It was always me.
When I started playing those games where it's 100 people trying to survive. What do they call it? I can't remember. But,
Battle Royale games.
Battle Royale games, G-Pub,
like,
and of course the big one.
I'm gonna be the first one to die.
I'm always
I
the
have
first
no
one to die.
shame.
But it was so smart of them to put into what is the name? I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, that game that everybody plays, Firefall or whatever it's called. What is it? Fortnite. Thank you. That you can watch. You die right away, but you can then watch the game as the person who killed you, and you become that person until they're killed, and then you become. That was brilliant because it gave me something to do. Because every time I would be the first one to go, every single time.
Yeah, I mean.
But wouldn't it be nice to have somebody to load your gun for you to say, "Hey, over there,"
Yeah, it would. I mean, I could see it in VR games being somewhat helpful too, just because anytime I've tested a VR game and it's meant to be immersive, and the fact is that you can't really interact with everything in a VR world because it requires people to have programmed that out for you. So you're like, oh, can I pick up this thing? No, but I can pick up that thing. So that would always just be sort of frustrating for me to just be like, I don't know what parts I can interact with. I don't know what I'm actually supposed to be doing right now. So in those instances, having like a bit of an AI, either having the AI kind of guide you to be like, no, don't pick up that thing. You can't pick up that thing.
Or you could say to it, don't give me big hints, but give me little hints.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what that does. that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not so good at games that I wouldn't want that kind of help.
I mean,
Yeah.
the number of times I ran into walls in these virtual games because I was like,
Stop. Yeah.
Right, because you don't know where the wall is, right?
Right.
Because the draw out isn't there. And so I mean, I think that's part of it. But you'd mentioned like the real world aspects, Leo, and kind of like reading the blog posts like more closely. They do comment that they're hoping to take some of the learnings from this and apply it to the robotics things. And I obviously can't say anything, but I had an opportunity to view one of the robotics floors in September and see some of the stuff that they're working on. And
I can only imagine.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And it's getting relatively affordable even for you to build and buy like your own kind of like arm that can be instructed by these things. And I mean, there are negative implications around this too, obviously, but like there are potentially massive implications if you're able to get these things to have better range of movement, make better decision-making processes, understand environments more. Like, some of the demos that I was seeing were incredibly impressive.
Victoria, how long before you're reviewing household robots?
Not that long. I got, what was the Casio? I forget the name of it. The little fluffy guy coming soon.
Yeah.
Oh, you got that one coming? It just makes little...
Yeah.
like
It
a
makes
tribble.
little noises.
It's a tribble.
It's a little tribble, but supposedly it gets a little smarter over time.
I really wanted to buy that.
I'm gonna
They
see
stopped
how it-
me. Should I get it? You think? I'll read your review.
I don't know. I want to see how it compares to my cat, and if my cat tries to kill it out of jealousy, we'll
Cat
see.
will. The Mouflin,
see.
it's called. The Mouflin.
Yeah, the Mouflin. I'm curious about that because it's a lot closer to what I call the Japanese culture of robots, which are like helpful, friendly assistant things versus the Western culture where they're
Or like Aibo.
Terminator.
I was going to say, I had an Aibo. I loved my Aibo very much.
Did you have an Aibo, really?
I did. I got it from Sharper Image when I was in college. It was like deeply, deeply, deeply discounted. And
I was going to say,
so
it was very expensive.
It was. And
yeah.
so I wouldn't have been able to afford it. But the batteries died. And I know people in Japan like had funerals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they couldn't remake the batteries. Like some of them had them for like 20 years. Like it was very sad. It was like losing like a real member of the family.
The Mouflin, though, doesn't do anything. And it's more than $400.
Listen, some people, we have a loneliness epidemic out here, and I would rather have the Mouflin than friend begging me.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like,
yeah. Friend.
She had the friend last time you were on. That thing was
that thing was real
insulting.
mean to me. It gaslit me a lot. It was just rude. It wasn't a good friend.
Well, and talk about being like, we're talking about like, wearing like the Ray-Ban stuff in public. Like the friend to me is even more of like a
Nobody
privacy,
noticed.
everything like that. Which
That's
Nobody
the
knows.
difference. Nobody can tell you're doing that.
But that's the part that's like, to me, is like more horrifying is the fact that it's, potentially recording and then roasting everything.
Good news. It only had one crappy mic at the bottom, so 90% of what it said to me was I can't hear what's going on.
I mean,
Cool.
look,
Unlike the B, which I wore, and I have a Plod.
I had the B.
I have a Plod.
Same.
I have a B. I have all of them. I can't even remember. There's so many generic names, but because I really had high hopes. I want an AI. See, it's that idea of not in a game, but just in life, the game of life, an AI assistant.
Yeah, you'd like to have just like a running, like recording of all the stuff you do. Yeah, I see the appeal, sort of, but I don't know. I feel like the friend thing, they lost me with. I mean, look, I understand
it was creepy.
Well, but I also understand the whole point of like, this young kid who's, putting together like a purposefully like antagonistic ad campaign and whatnot and going for the lulz and seemingly to enjoying spending.
He was kind of a troll.
Millions of, 1000%. And openly seeming to enjoy spending all this VC money, which I kind of respect the grift there, right? Part of me kind of respects that. I'm like, all right, I see you. But I did get great pleasure that in New York City, all of the, billboards and everything were immediately graffitied in the subway. Like be up for like half a second and somebody would be like, not your friend. And would just be like,
it was hilarious because
it's
the West 4th station was the most famously graffitied one. And so I went there to like kind of film some social content about the friend thing. And they had kind of like cleaned it up and put a new one up to get rid of the graffiti, and immediately I just see someone just going "fuck AI" all over it.
Right. I was there, I was there, a couple months ago, and I just happened to see like through a subway door on I think I was like on like 14th Street Station or something, and like literally like and what somebody had graffitied on was "no" on the pendant, because I'm looking up this photo right now, and then they crossed out friend.com and wrote in faux.com, and I captured this image literally through the subway door, and I was like, brilliant, no notes, perfect.
I mean, that's just New York.
Somebody made a website of all of the graffitied subway signs, and it's a really fun.
It is.
It's a really fun website.
Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves you, Fred. What's so funny to me about this is that part of me is like, man, because, and I'm probably the only one who remembers this, Victoria, I don't know if you remember, Lucas uses Venmo, but
I do remember that. Yeah.
Oh God. So there's when Venmo was first starting out, Leo, in New York City, they blasted. He was an actual Venmo employee, so I feel bad for him for this regard. But they just blasted this poor guy's like photo like on every billboard all over the subway stations. Like, Lucas uses Venmo, and you get to a certain point, you're like, F you, Lucas, right? Don't want to see you again. But Venmo did kind of lean into the outrage behind it. I thought it would have been really funny, frankly, if when they did the big like West 4th Street like buyout of the whole thing, if they had just like embraced the graffiti or even put graffiti on themselves. Like, to me, that would have been like at least like it would have killed the whole attempt at doing it if they had done it themselves. But of course they didn't, which I'm glad for, because I'm glad the community got to attack it all instead.
Did you see that the people were making Friend Subway ad like Halloween costumes? They would just wear it and allow people to just graffiti on them. I thought that was great.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. That made me like miss New York so much, because that's just such a quintessential like
there
New York
is
thing.
If you want to there is a website called vandalizefriend.com
Oh my God,
where
that's
you
amazing.
can go in and vandalize a virtual friend subway ad.
See, this is good content.
Yeah.
That's
This
great.
is good content.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's so good.
And then you can publish it. Oh, I have to log in to publish it. I'm not going to do that. Do you have different colors, spray paint?
That's hilarious.
Well done.
Isn't it? I love, you know what? New York's like a fertile creative ground for this kind of stuff. I love it. And I love the kind of, anti-establishment point of view that this all reflects. Now, here's the Neo home robot. This is, I think, maybe, you can order it now, by the way. This is, I want you, Victoria, to review.
Oh,
Yes.
I
God.
was going to say, tell me about this guy. That freaks me out.
Here it is, vacuuming behind us.
That's like a Slender Man situation.
It is. I was going to say, I was like, here's the thing. I'm not opposed to having more anthropomorphized types of robots in our homes or whatever. And I like the Mofin thing that you were showing, or Mofflin, whatever it's called. It looks super cute or whatever. But yeah, this is a Slender Man thing. And I'm like, I think if you're going to do this sort of thing, you really need to go full Rosie robot, right? Like you
need to go like full Baymax. You need Baymax full of rounded, fluffy corners. It needs to look like anime and Disneyfied.
Yeah. No, totally. I think you're right. I think Baymax is probably the right thing. I was thinking like Rosie from the Jetsons, but yeah, something like that where very clearly this is not trying to emulate like a real human at all. Because this Slender Man, my God, like the lack of face, just the two eyes and the whole thing.
It's so creepy.
This is so creepy.
It's giving Slender Man meets Coraline. With the button mother eyes, like absolutely not. Mm-mm.
And you guys, we found a thing that I've been completely outpriced from that I'm laughing at why I needed to pay this. So it's a $200 deposit.
Yeah.
The standard monthly subscription with the starter productivity package and standard delivery is $500 a month.
Oh.
But for early access, ownership with a 3-year warranty, premium support, and priority delivery, it's $20,000.
So it's $20,000, and then there's a $500 a month.
That's a car.
No, I think that it's 20,000 and they say ownership, but it's not clear how long.
Oh, so you could rent it for $500 a month.
It's unclear to me. I'm looking at there are things. If I purchase my Neo now, will I need an additional subscription? No. If you purchase Neo as opposed to a monthly subscription, no additional subscription is required.
Yeah, but wait a minute. That $500 a month is $6,000 a year.
Right. So you need it at least 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they're saying. Right. And they're saying ownership with 3-year warranty. So I'm guessing that they are not planning on supporting when you buy for longer than 3 years.
This will not be working in 3 years.
Oh, no.
It will not be working in 2 years.
No.
I
don't think this is launching.
An Orbi.
Oh, absolutely not.
I had a bunch of robots that are, they turned off the server and it's just a dead.
Oh, 1,000. Yes. Not only that, but I think that this is a thing where like you're going to put in your $200 deposit and you're never going to see your money again.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think that might.
This is going to be a.
I'm so tempted though. Wouldn't it be great if I were doing the show and it just wandered through the shot?
Not for $20,000, Leo.
You want a Slender Man just walking with his little brown face sock around you?
I was going to say you could like. Actually, what would be funnier and it would be cheaper. You could just rig up like an AI generated background.
Oh, I could
to show you.
I could just have it be. You wouldn't know. I could have it be virtual.
Yeah.
Hand me a cup of coffee.
But also, I mean, this thing's never going to ship. It's never going to be a real thing. I don't really think about who these people are.
Maybe it might though. Elon Musk's part of his $1 trillion pay package is that he will get his Optimus robots working. You can see him in LA now. They'll give you popcorn.
Leo, click on it because the website is 1x.tech/about and please pull that up and then scroll down and show it to the people because the Eve industrial robot design that they have needs to be seen. The people watching the
so that's different from. So here's the Eve is on wheels.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got a face and it's attached to a Segway. Come on,
look
guys.
at that face.
Right.
There's Eve in the factories.
Nope.
It's awful. No.
Did no one watch Megan?
Yeah, it does have a kind of a.
Oh my god! And now it's freaking the evil Spider-Man, the Venom.
Venom.
If you scroll down Neo Beta, because they have so scroll up because
Did I go past it? There's Gamma.
Yeah,
Beta.
Go
he's got a little Spider-Man suit. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It looks like Venom.
No.
He's picking out clothes for you.
Not well.
No.
I mean, I will say if he could do that, if he could like fold my clothes, do my laundry, do all those things, I don't know. You're still going to look creepy.
I don't know if it was this one, but there was definitely the case that one of these household robots, more often than not, was being operated at the home office by a human being.
Oh,
who was
yeah,
looking
1,000%.
through the eyes.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
I don't know if it was this one, but
I don't know. Who knows? But no, that tracks because wasn't that the whole thing with like the Amazon Go grocery things? That it turned out that a lot of them were actually being primarily validated by
self-driving.
humans.
A lot of self-driving vehicles. You don't know how often it's being taken.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, I love Waymo. Waymo is my favorite thing in the entire world. I want Waymo everywhere. I think Waymo is the
killed the
in San Francisco,
cat.
Waymo's in trouble because it killed the bodega cat. Killed Kit Kat.
They did. They killed the bodega cat, which is very sad. And I'm not defending that. I'm not going to get into the politics behind that. But that
there's probably been other bodega cats killed by humans more often.
Many of them. And I think the difference is that you have a thing you can point to and blame, which I understand and I respect and go off. But like for me personally, like I love Waymo more than anything it's my favorite thing since the iPhone. Like I love Waymo. I want it everywhere. But yeah, to your point, I don't have no idea how often like a human has to potentially get involved if you're in a weird traffic situation. And I've taken, I don't know, probably 150 Waymos and I've never had a weird I've never been, I think one time there was like a weird parking situation or like we were like trapped into a weird place and I had to wait for a few minutes and it seemed clear to me that there was probably like a human getting involved to then, move the car or whatever the case may be. But yeah.
Let's take a break. There are only 433 stories left. We'll get to them all. We'll do a speed round. We have Victoria's song from The Verge. So wonderful to have you, Victoria. You like the ceramic? Should I trade? I have a titanium one. Same. It's the same in size, right? It's
the same. It's slightly. I think the sizing is slightly different just because of the titanium. I mean, the ceramic. It's
prettier.
It's prettier. I'm basically going to be testing to see how durable it is.
Good. I will read your review. Yeah.
I'm very hard
You're the
on
queen
my
of
rings.
Wearables.
Thank you.
Yes.
But
in the world, yes.
Oh, I'll take that. But yeah, no, like I had the brushed titanium for the 4 as my original review unit, and it did not take long before I got scratches on it, which, makes sense. But the one before that, I had the rose gold.
The black matte, and it's
that makes sense.
Pretty well. Yeah.
But I like my bling. I like things to be pretty, and so I had the rose gold one for a couple years, and that one, the coating just completely came off, and it was just gold underneath, and I was like, well, that's dumb. So this supposedly does not, because
it was gold, and they coated it with rose to make it rose gold.
Yeah, and so that coating just came off over time, and so then I had this weird splotchy Aura ring for a while, and I was like, no.
But it's hard. I mean, this is basically a little computer on your finger.
It is, but it is also jewelry, and that's the thing about smart rings. Like,
I'm embarrassed by this. When I wear this, I think people think either I'm a swinger, because that apparently is the black ring makes you. I don't know.
Oh.
Or I didn't know that, but or they just think I'm some sort of creep, and I wear it all the time, and it's. I have a wedding ring on my other hand. That's obviously a wedding ring, but what's this? It's on my middle finger. I don't know. I hope more people wear them, so it becomes.
I think more people will.
Acceptable.
Well, you know where more people will. I think the Platinum American Express card now gives you. I think it's a couple $100 credit if you buy Aura.
Good, because that's $1,000 a year card now.
I know. I'm very mad.
I'm very mad. It used to be $400 a year.
Yes.
And I only bought it for helicopter evacuation in case of injury in a foreign land. That's why I got it. But I don't know if that's worth $1,000, because I ain't going anywhere for a while anyway.
Well, I used to do it for lounge access, and then they started cutting how many times you
don't get lounge access anymore.
Right. Well, they started cutting how many times you can access the Delta Lounge and all kinds of other stuff. And it used to be cheaper to pay the annual fee of Amex Platinum than to buy a Sky Club pass. That is
this is the definition of a first world problem.
It is.
Sorry,
to be clear,
folks.
but there is a $200 Aura ring credit now.
This is the problem with these fancy cards. You don't know what the benefits are.
I know. They just had a Lululemon too.
So it's a full-time job to read all this stuff.
Well, fortunately, people do have blogs that keep up with it. But there's a new Lululemon credit. It is, though. It is a full-time job. But there's a Lululemon credit now in addition to the Saks credit that you can, I think Lululemon is quarterly.
I do not need my butt lifted, so I will not get it.
Okay, but they have great bags. They have great hats.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they have stuff that Lisa would love. Lululemon? Like, honestly, Lululemon has amazing stuff.
Oh. Wow.
Like, I love their bags. Like, I love their little, shoulder side or like.
Well, you are the queen of merch. If you say.
But they make good stuff. And their hats are also incredible. Just like their caps or whatever. And so if you've got the card, use the credit is all I'm saying. Don't spend more. But like, if you've got the, $50 or $75 or whatever it is, use it. But yeah, you get $2.
How do you find out what the credits are on these things?
Again, like the Points Guy, there are a bunch of websites that track these things. Like, it's technically.
I bet AI could help me. I bet I could say, AI, scan the website and tell me what all my benefits are.
Yeah, and apparently American Express does send emails about this out. I just don't read them because I get too many emails from American Express.
I don't want to read
So
emails.
The inbox is a dumpster fire, trash nightmare.
It is. How do we solve this? Have you, either of you, solved the email?
I'm working on it. I
just declared bankruptcy.
I'm trying to find an email solution, and if I find it, it'll be an optimizer issue. But I've been working on it because I came back from vacation to way too many emails.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
I wanted to jump off a cliff. It was not. It was not it.
It's become useless, frankly. That's the problem. Is that people want to contact me on email, and I've been an email overload for 20 years. I can't. I don't know what's in my email.
Same. And this is where I would love to actually trust AI to go through and siphon for me. I don't trust AI. But
No,
this is
you
a place. No, but this is a case where in a perfect world, if the agents, like if we're talking about, like the new wave of like web browsers, whether it's like, Dia, or I wouldn't trust perplexity thing ever, but let's pretend that Comet would be trustworthy, or whatever Chrome is doing, or anything else. I would, but I'm too much of a control freak. But if I felt confident enough that I could say, please go through and sort emails from these people and organize these things automatically into this way, that would be amazing for me, right?
That's actually an interesting idea. Maybe
I've
Claude
been testing
Code
these.
could do
I've been
that or
testing these
something.
AI browsers, asking them to sort through my
they're
emails.
useless. They're
not
dangerous.
not helpful.
They're slow.
I'm convinced they're dangerous.
Not
to be
helpful.
honest. Yeah.
Not helpful at all.
yeah,
They're
but
too
Claude-
easy to spoof.
Right. Well, and I think that they're dangerous in some ways. I feel like however Chrome does it will probably be the right way. It'll probably be less useful, but sandbox, because there's no way Google will put something out that won't be as locked down as possible. But
It might tell you to put Elmer's glue on your pizza or eat rocks.
Yes, agreed. But I think in terms of taking control over your inbox
But it
is a
won't-
slightly different, like, taking control of your inbox, I think they let you do. I think it's more.
You saw that Amazon is suing Perplexity because Perplexity which one's that? Is that Comet?
That's Comet,
With its
yeah.
Comet AI browser was shopping for people on Amazon, and Amazon said, no, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know why Amazon wouldn't like it, except that Amazon has its own AI, Rufus, that's supposed to do the shopping
I think it's that, and I think that what they don't like, because there are a couple of companies, I can't think of the name of them right now, but there is one company that the number of these have existed, where basically you give them access to your inbox and they monitor things that come from certain
like
email
Camel, or Honey.
No. These are like for shipping tracking purposes, where basically
yeah.
Like so it has access to your inbox, and it can monitor any email that comes in from the Amazon domain or from Apple or for some other things. And it's great because it'll show you when all your stuff is arriving, and it can even show you how much you're spending. But the reason they're doing that is because it's capturing and then anonymizing.
Else.
No. It's not about that. No, it's about capturing how much you're spending and what you're buying. And so then they can create demographic information that they can sell in aggregate. And that's how those things work. And that's existed though for a very long time.
It was free. Why?
Right. But you need to know that going into it, and people don't make that clear, right? Like I've used some of those services, but I've known very clearly this is what's happening, right? It's the next step of going into the supermarket and using the loyalty card.
Don't you think everybody knows everything that you do anyway?
I mean, I think that there's a difference,
yes and
though.
No.
Yeah, right. And I think we know that, but we don't like to be faced with that. But I feel like the Amazon thing, that's why I think that they're mad. I don't think it's a matter of them shopping for him, is that they don't want Perplexity to get this information about users that they have browsing information on,
plus
and
also,
then what they buy.
If you're doing that, you're not seeing all of the Amazon picks, Amazon essentials, Amazon ads. You're not seeing a very lucrative part of Amazon's
1,000%
business.
is the add-on stuff for sure.
Just go in there to buy stuff and leave. On the other hand, they try to get us to do that with our Amazon Echoes, to buy things. You didn't see any ads, right? You just,
right. And then you wind up not realizing how.
You think they'd be happy to sell stuff?
Well, I don't think it's that though. Like I said, though, I think that it's a matter of like protecting information about what's being bought from them, because
everybody wants to own the customer.
Right. Because at this point, but I think it's even beyond the customer itself. It's like you could look at trends. How many of these items are being sold? How many of these items are being sold? Is there a different retailer that we could point people to for these things? Is there other, like for Perplexity, it might not matter as much, but for some other companies, it could be a big deal. I mean, this is, Amazon was sued for, directly undercutting and creating competitive products based on the data that they would see would do well, and they created Amazon Basics, and they were fined quite heavily for that.
I wonder what the courts are going to do, or what the judge, I guess it'll be in this lawsuit, will say about this, because essentially, isn't that what you do anytime you use a browser? This is just a browser, and
it is.
Just
it's
giving
just
it
an automated thing.
And, yeah,
right.
And I don't see how Amazon could say no. Your Honor, they're not allowed. It would be like Amazon saying, "Well, you can't use Google's browser on our website."
I think that what they're saying is that I'm sure that there's a thing in their terms of service, and I haven't looked into this at all, but I would assume that there is some sort of thing in their terms of service that basically, for botting activity, probably says that you're not allowed to automate it.
They say it's not identifying itself as Comet. It's identifying itself as something else.
Right. And I think that, and that's how, and look, as somebody who, buys expensive sneakers and likes to get, video games and other things, like I've been the victim of like the bots many, many times. And so and a lot of the stores have had to try to fight the bots, some more actively than others because some of them frankly don't care. Like this makes it harder if it's not identifying itself the right way, and if it's also potentially capturing information it can sell.
All right, I got to take a break. Bots. I don't want to keep you past your bedtime. So we're going to take a little break here, and then we're going to try to get through a few stories. A few stories anyway. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. But when you get Victoria Song and Christina Warren on a show, you just gotta let it go where it goes. You just gotta let it happen.
We're just going to
get in the way. It's fun. It's great to have you both. Thank you for being here. Our show today brought to you by Vention. Had a great conversation with Vention a couple of weeks ago. I think they could be the thing you've been looking for if you've been trying to figure out how to use AI in your business. AI is supposed to make things easier, right? But for most teams, I think in a lot of cases, it's just making the job harder. That's where Vention's 20 plus years of global engineering expertise comes in. They built AI-enabled engineering teams together to make software development faster, cleaner, and calmer. In fact, Vention's clients typically see at least a 15% boost in efficiency. This isn't hype. This is and this is what I love about it, real engineering discipline. There's not hand waving here. These people have been doing this for 20 plus years. They also have great AI workshops, which I would in fact, this might be the best place for you to start with Vention. Highly recommend these. Help your team. It's not just your team sits there and you get lectured at. It's an interactive process that will help your team find practical, safe ways to use AI in your business, in delivery, in Q&A. It's a great way to start with Vention and test their expertise, and then to go to the next level with AI in your business. Whether you're a CTO, a tech lead, a product owner, you won't have to spend weeks figuring out tools, architectures, or models. That's where people get frozen a lot. Is where do I go from here? No, you go to Vention. Vention helps you assess your AI readiness, clarify your goals, and outline the steps to get you there without the headaches. And if you need help on the engineering front, yes, they're there. Their teams are ready to jump in, either as a development partner or a consulting partner. You get to choose. This is the most reliable step to take after your proof of concept. Let's say, you built a lot of people are in this position. You built a promising prototype, an MVP, unlovable. It runs well in tests, but what do you do next? Do you now open a dozen AI-specific roles just to keep moving? Do you bring in a partner who has done this already? Yeah, this sounds good. Bring in a partner who has done this across industries. Somebody with real domain expertise in your domain. Somebody who can expand your idea into a full-scale product and not get in the way, not disrupt your systems or slow your team down. That's Vention. Vention. It's like invention without the in. Vention is real people with real expertise and real results. Take a look at those workshops. A great way to get started, to figure out, to kind of start planning your next move with AI, or bring them in as an engineering team or engineering consultants. But find out more. Learn more at ventionteams.com. See how your team can build smarter, faster, and with a lot more peace of mind. Or get started with your AI workshop today at ventionteams.com/twit. That's VENTION teams.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Tech, and a wild show. Okay, LA. George Lucas, he's been building this for years. Lots of problems. They've moved around a lot. The Lucas Museum of Narrative Art opens next year.
Amazing.
Look at it. It's pretty
Looks
cool.
fantastic, honestly.
It looks like a spaceship.
September 22nd. They're building it right now. It's been a decade in the making. They've moved locations over and over again. 40,000 works of narrative art, not just Star Wars. Of course, the entire Lucas archives. So you got models, props, concept art, costumes, but also from other creatives. It's dedicated to illustrated storytelling. 36 galleries with themes like family, childhood, sports, and adventure. From Norman Rockwell to Frida Kahlo. Sounds pretty cool.
That sounds amazing.
Park. Yeah.
I will go. I will see that.
I thought this was aimed at you too.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like a perfect. Oh my God, Victoria, you have to go and take the Meta glasses with you.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I got to do that. I got to go and I have to test it at all the museums now.
Yeah.
I want to see the Jar Jar Binks wing. Just all that concept art.
Absolutely. Wasn't this
That's going to be the most popular wing, the Jar Jar Binks wing. Absolutely, yeah.
Hi, this is
It
Benito.
is
He
interesting.
actually didn't want to put Star Wars stuff in there at first. Like he was kind of forced into doing that. Yeah.
Yes,
Well-
because if you go there, you're going to want to see Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
You're
I
gonna
mean,
see
a lot
the
of art.
Jar
That's what
Jar
everybody
Wars.
told him. That's what everybody told him.
The rubber costume.
I
for Jar Jar.
look, there's been so much stuff that that Lucas, films have done, and they've done so many things like Industrial Light and Magic, like so much stuff. But yeah, you got to have Star Wars, like at the very least.
Yeah, the Jar Jar Binks wing, the Baby Yoda wing. Like,
Oh my
come
God.
on.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, I want to see the wing to the whole like prequel, like that. That's that whole section. No, I got to go to Pixar last year, and
That's supposed to be amazing.
and was amazing. And it's actually a fairly small campus, but it's beautiful. And I had some really nice guys who happened to take me around. It happened to be the day that Inside Out 2 came out, and
wow.
I got to go see it in the theater with some of the Pixar employees at like a theater that was within walking distance of the campus, which was really cool because they put the names of every employee at the end of the film, and so that was really special. But they have various things around and whatnot, but like I would love to, but so just seeing that on a small level, like being able to and I've always wanted to go to ILM. I've never had a chance. I think to have a big, museum like this, like,
Be cool.
It's so cool. The what is it? It's in Queens. The one in Queens. What is that, Victoria? Is that
The Moving Art Museum.
Yeah, the Museum of the
Yeah.
Moving Image, I think, which is
Yeah.
a great museum, and they update it fairly frequently. But one of the best things they have, I think it's been like the collection has been based there for a long time, is they have like the Jim Henson collection.
Yep.
And so you have like the whole history of like all the Jim Henson stuff from Sesame Street and earlier and well into like the Fraggles and all that stuff, and like
What's that one Jim Henson thing that's like dark and weird?
dark
I forget,
it's dark
God.
Dark
something.
Crystal.
Thank you.
Dark Crystal, yes.
Thanks, Benito. Yeah. But so I think like I love that kind of stuff, and I think whatever Lucas is doing, the only interesting thing, and you would know this, I guess, Benito, probably more than anyone, I don't know, like it is surprising to me that it's not like at the Presidio or something, that it's in Los Angeles, but I guess
I think it was
San
going to
Francisco
be.
wouldn't let them do
This had a long checkered story about moving around. Yeah, Lucas has a lot of the Presidio, but I think there was a long story around this. So it's finally has. That's why it's a news story. After 10 years, it finally has an opening day set.
That's great.
Yeah, admittedly, almost a year away.
It's supposed to be the narrative art museum, right? It's supposed to be like the narrative art museum. So it was kind of like wearing your own band shirt if you put your own stuff in there. It's like
fair enough. Well, you know what? But you know what? If you're George Lucas, I
Wear
think
your
you've
own
earned it.
band shirt.
Okay.
Absolutely. Wear your own freaking band T-shirt during the concert, right?
Yes.
Like I think sometimes you've earned it. Like if you're the Rolling Stones, if you're George Lucas, if you're like I think you can. If you're Harry Styles, I think you can get away with it.
Yes. Spotify has added, for people like me who listen to books and then fall asleep, a new audiobook recap feature. So you can automatically catch up on the story so far, generated by AI. But I think that's fine. I don't have a problem.
I think that's fine for audiobooks. because,
Previously.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
I fall asleep to audiobooks all the
I do
time,
too.
and then you don't know
You
where
don't know
you
what
last
happened.
left
No, where you fell
off.
asleep.
Back to, and,
Right, because I always set the timer, but then like you're not like what part of it did I lose
Yeah.
out on? Yeah, I don't mind that. Although I don't know about either of you, I don't get the audiobooks on Spotify. I turn
No, I
that
don't
off
either.
to save the money.
Yeah, I don't
because I already pay for Audible, and if
Right.
you have a family plan, only the primary user gets the audiobooks.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not paying extra for
I
this.
use Libby, so
I use
Yeah,
Libby, the
I live in
library.
Philly, I use Audible. Yeah.
And I use Libro
Yeah.
FM. I don't use Audible anymore because I don't want to give them any money. Although,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they have exclusives on almost everything I
Well,
want to
I
listen
have
to.
I have 18 years worth of books. I
Me
have
too. Well,
and
you don't have to pay for Audible to have access to your account. You
oh,
can
I
listen.
know.
Yeah.
And trust me, I've downloaded them all and I've DRM'd all of them so that I can listen to them in M4B formats if I need to, because
Yes, that's what
I
I've
bought
done
those
as
things.
well. Yes.
But it's just inertia.
History.
I should
I
do
know.
other things. It's just,
They canceled my plan. Actually, that's what was the precipitator.
Oh.
I had the 2-book plan from way back when, from 20 years ago.
when it was like really cheap and they
And they kept trying to get me off of it. and I never agreed to it. And then just one day they just said, no, you're canceled.
And then at that point, you were like, right, you're like, fine, I will go to Libra FM. I will go to Libby. I will find other ways.
I'll support my local bookstore. Yes. And my library. Yes. Believe it or not, there is a new spec for ping, for PNGs.
Huh. Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's now even better. It's going to have HDR support, which is, by the way, apparently something that was being requested by television because they use pings for graphics and for lower thirds. So they needed HDR. Sense. Yeah. It now supports EXIF data. You know, in the past when you took a DMG file or a file from your camera and you turn it into a ping, it would strip away all that information. That information will be preserved. 20-year-old technology is now been updated by the W3C.
Nice.
Yes, I thought you'd want to know that.
No, this is great. I mean, and hopefully,
yeah.
No, and hopefully this will get adopted more quickly than because what was the other one they've been trying for a while? A JPEG XL.
And WebP, and there's some other things. Google had WebP. Yeah,
WebP.
Ping is good.
Ping is good.
We don't need JPEG Plus. We're fine.
Right, I was going to say because
it called ping.
I've always said PNG.
PNG, really? Maybe I'm the only one that calls it ping. What do you say, GIF or GIF?
GIF.
I'm on the wrong side of history. I say GIF because that's what the
that's a peanut butter.
I know, but that's what the creator said, and so I do auteur rules here. I'm sorry.
Chat room, is it ping or PNG? And I'm not going to ask you GIF or GIF because I know that's just a battle. Everybody says PNG. I didn't know that. All right, I won't call it a ping anymore. Okay.
Yeah, but honestly, I think this is hopefully going to be good because and if it's being led by the TV vendors, then it will hopefully be adopted. Also, if the W3C is taking it on, and the browsers will hopefully get it on.
This should be good. Yeah, all the browsers already support it. So, yeah.
Right. Well, because that's been the problem with JPEG XL, which is a really interesting format and adds a lot of other layers and really better compression and a bunch of stuff. But they can't get the browser support broad enough, and you're never going to get the support on like TV sets or embedded systems. Right. So that's cool.
Everybody in the chat room is saying it's not ping, Leo. Don't call it ping. Okay, fine. Okay. PNG.
Call it ping if it's a ping in your heart. Call it a ping.
It's a ping in my heart.
Well, when you said ping, you know what I thought? Because this is how wild and retro-pilled I am. I thought of like Apple's ping. Remember
Apple's old social network that was around for three cups of coffee.
3.5 seconds. Yeah.
Here's how I'm a nerd. I thought of Mulan and how her name was Ping before she was outed.
Oh, you are a nerd. Oh, you
I know.
Are a nerd.
I was like, Ping? Mulan? Sure.
Do you when you travel use SeatGuru? I did all the time to pick my seats. It's gone.
Yeah, I know.
TripAdvisor bought it and they killed it.
No, they had it for years and then they just decided to kill it. And I was so mad because if people weren't familiar, what SeatGuru was is that it would have the seat maps for all the different planes, and you could put in what your flight number was and then find your plane type. And it wasn't always accurate because sometimes the plane types change, but you could get close enough to see, okay, what type of plane am I going to be in? What variation of it is? That's the important thing because there's always a variation difference.
And you don't want to be next to the bathroom. You don't want to have no leg room. You want to be able to put your stuff under the seat. There's a lot of reasons that seat is not a good seat, but the airline's not going to tell you.
No, and so it was crowdsourced in some ways where people would. Like,
it was crowdsourced.
Was it good or not? And you could see, is it yellow? Was it red? Was it green?
Yeah,
whatever.
I used it all the time.
Me too, because I don't fly as much as I used to, but when I used to be on an airplane all the time, like I'm trying to pick the most optimum seat, especially if it's like a long flight. And yeah, I'm very sad. Like, screw you, TripAdvisor. I hope somebody else can maybe.
I never used it, so I won't miss it, but I feel FOMO now.
Now you wish you had.
Now you wish that you'd known about it. Yeah.
Now I wish I'd known about it. I just suffer on planes.
On those long trips to Rome. There's no direct flight between SFO and Rome.
Oh, that's interesting.
How could that be? Isn't that ridiculous?
That is ridiculous.
I guess it would be pretty long.
Yeah, it's also a small airport.
Flight?
No, that's the problem. No, it's a really small airport. That's it, because you've got to go through Amsterdam or CDG.
Oh, the Rome airport is.
Yeah, the Rome airport's really small. That's the issue. They don't have wide bodies. That's the issue because it's a really small airport.
So the Mint
Milan, you can actually. I don't know if you can go direct Milan either. I think you also have to go through Amsterdam or CDG to do Milan, but
You know all of this because, man, you travel. So you're not traveling as much with
not
GitHub
as much.
this time.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
God, you did every event for a while.
I did. Well, it was pre-pandemic too, so times were different, budgets were different. I mean, this year I've done India, London, and a bunch of other places, but San Francisco a few times, New York a few times, but I don't know what next year will be.
Let's see other stories. The penny is dead. Did you know that?
Yeah.
The mint stopped making them. Now we have, get ready for this, 300 billion pennies in circulation with no plan for what to do with them.
Well, they're still legal tender.
They're still, right? You can still use them. Bring them to the store.
I might just keep one pennies. Now.
I was going to say, like now I'll really have a lucky penny. So on SNL last night, they were making some jokes about it. And Michael Shea's second joke was...
Yeah, I did laugh at that one.
I didn't hear that. Oh.
It's something along the lines of, shooting him through the head one last time. Basically.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That is really rude.
It was really dark, but it was good. It was really good.
It was good.
It was. I laughed very hard. I was like, well done, Shay. Like there were gasps in the crowd when he said it too.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Why Things, we were talking about the Waymo. Why Things has a new device they just released called the BMO.
Yes.
It is an electrocardiogram, a stethoscope, and a thermometer all in one thing.
Speaking about hypochondriacs, like or encouraging hypochondria.
Actually
have you reviewed it, Victoria? Are you gonna?
No, I've seen it though. So Withings will do this thing where they come every year at CES, and you're like, "Here's the new thing." And I think this was their new thing like 2 CESs ago.
It's taken a while.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing in my KG search is it shows January 8th, 2024.
It's a single lead ECG, so that's not going to be great. Not even as good, I think, as the Apple Watch.
That's also a single lead.
Is it single lead or?
I believe it's single lead.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, a simple grip of BMO triggers measurements. My Y Things or With Things or We Things, we don't know how you pronounce it. Scale has a handlebar that you hold that does your EKG and shows a little sinus rhythm and all that. I'm always okay. It can do auscultation by digital stethoscope.
I mean, it looks kind of cool. Like they have there's the BMO and then there's the BMO Pro. It says it's been CE cleared and to be FDA cleared. Okay.
So it's maybe not quite.
I think it's out in Europe is what I saw.
Yeah.
So it's out in Europe, but it has to be FDA cleared. But I don't know, man. Like I think that I wouldn't buy one, but at the same time, I can kind of see the appeal. Like.
Yeah, I have a number of We Things, Y Things, Woo
I
Things,
had one of their. I wound up getting the whatever the Anchor brand was of the scale afterwards, but I had one of the Y Things, We Things, whatever scales. They're good.
The scales are good. I actually have a new Withings device that's not the BMO that I will be testing. That is cursed.
Ooh.
It's the UScan, which is an at-home pee lab that you pee on.
Do you put it in? You pee on it?
Yes, you put it in your.
So it's
toilet.
like a pregnancy test. You have to.
No, it's
for other stuff.
It's for other stuff, but that also was announced at CES a couple years ago.
Do you put it? Oh, it's the one that looks like a clam.
Kind of. It's like a little thing that you stick in your toilet and you pee on it, and
you put it in your. Okay.
Yeah.
And then oh no,
there's like a little cartridge in there and it measures certain things like biomarkers.
I don't want to know any of this.
So that's
it's a urine lab in your pocket.
It's very cursed.
Like genuinely, like putting we were talking at the beginning of the show kind of about like, oh, is this going to lead people to hypochondria and whatnot? I am a fan of people being able to monitor their bodies and get information and whatnot. I like my Apple Watch. I like knowing like what my general pulse ox is when that works. Knowing like my heart rate.
I'm kind of a fan of the.
I like having the sleep tracking if I could do it, right? Like this is why, based on Victoria's review, I'm going to go look and see if I can fit one of the. If one of the Oura rings will be small on my finger.
What do you think, Victoria? Is it good?
I'm gonna find out.
You haven't peed on it yet?
No, because I have to get the product photos before I install it because I got to be really respectful of our photographer.
Yes, please.
I'm not going to use the product and then be like, hey, can you get pictures of a thing I've peed on? That's a step too far.
So how close will this be to going, to the doctor, the lab and peeing in a cup
Originally, one reason why it probably took so long to launch is because they were going to go for FDA clearance, but then now they've decided to take a left turn and be wellness.
Right.
So it doesn't require that. So I'm going to say it's not going to replace your doctor in any capacity.
You choose what pods to put in it. So
Well, and this is annoying because I don't know how much the refills cost, but I'm looking at the website now. So 1 cartridge is included with the proactive package, 2 with the intensive package. 1 is saying it'll do 2 to 4 measurements weekly. So you install this in your toilet. Is that how this works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then 5 to 7 for the intensive. 1 is so it's 22 tests a cartridge. Who knows what these cartridges cost? Well, 22 tests. That's not even going to be that's going to be like 3 weeks.
I might just go to the
like,
doctors for this. And
if you have a chronic metabolic
that's different
thing that you need to monitor over time, then sure, this might be a product.
I wear a continuous glucose monitor. That's incredibly useful. I really like that.
And actually, I could see for diabetic users who might need to monitor some of these things, this could be useful. But when you say that that they went for wellness and not FDA clearance, then that's red flag number 1, because then we don't know how good this is going to be. And maybe it is good enough and they just couldn't go through the red tape. And it's kind of like the, over the counter, hearing aid things, right? Where they are very close, maybe not the same like level of, battery and some other things, but they are, performance wise, very close to what the typical ones are, which is why the FDA had to allow the over the counter stuff. But maybe the results will be good. I can't say, but it just feels to me like
I will say that it's getting more invasive. Like all the health stuff is. So like obviously this is not invasive into your body, but Aura and Whoop both released features recently where you can get blood tests and then the results of those blood tests into those. Like you're going through Quest Diagnostics in each case, and it's not available in every state.
So it's a real test. It's not the ring doing it. You go in and they draw your blood.
It's just putting the data into.
Go to your doctor.
Yeah. Well, and
have
again,
them
I don't
order
mind
tests.
Right, and again, I don't mind having the data available. My concern is Apple, weirdly, and they probably don't deserve this trust from me, but I trust them to keep my health data relatively
that's
private.
That's a good point. Yeah.
A lot of these other companies, and this is what really bothers me, because you do see this with health insurance companies. You see it with Medicare, with Medicaid, where they will basically say, we will give you an Apple Watch, we will do whatever. But in exchange, they want all of your measurement data. Mm-hmm. And that's the level where I'm like, because it's one thing if you want to openly engage in giving information to these companies where they could do all kinds of things with it, which we don't know about. Where I find it really insidious and really problematic is as more insurance companies get into these wellness things, if they start to make it a requirement to even get insured, that's my bigger concern. Like it's not even so much the discounts, it's saying, oh, we're going to require you to wear this, monitoring gear and share your real time or whatever time data it is with us for us to make the determination of your insurance status. That is just so big and horrifying.
That horrifies me on a lot of levels too. I don't like thinking about it, especially since like these corporate health programs are very black boxy. I've done some cursory look into them and it's very difficult to kind of just find a way in. But it's one thing I will say on my beat, and I say it a lot of times, is like if you're worried about your health data, don't use wearables, because even if you trust Apple, even if you think this company is good, if you do a third-party integration, you are agreeing to that third party's thing, and they may not be at the same level. And that's in every single Verge review that we put. At the end, we have this agree to continue section where I basically write that in every single wearable review, where it's like if you integrate with a third health party app, you are also agreeing to that app's terms and privacy policies and how they use your data. So you can think that the data your Apple Watch collects is secure, and then you share it to Strava, and then I don't know what Strava is going to do with that data. So it's very murky. I'm at this point where I'm like, I have no data privacy in my life whatsoever because of my job and the testing that I do. I'm kind of cavalier about it because I just am. But it is getting to a point where even I am like, this is starting to get a little invasive in a way that I don't feel comfortable with sometimes. Like, I don't know if I want my Aura app to have my blood test results in it and interpreting it through their AI versus like Whoop interpreting it. So
if you do that, HIPAA doesn't protect you then. So it protects you if you do it with a physician in a... So that's really important to remember.
And it's important to remember when you see these FDA cleared things, that anything that's gone through FDA clearance has to adhere to HIPAA level data privacy and data security, which is why it takes so long to get the clearances, because it's such a long, resource intensive process, which is why oftentimes you only see the really big companies go through that ordeal, because you have to do the clinical testing, you have to do validation testing, you have to show that it works on different skin colors, you have to show that it is adhering to HIPAA privacy protocols and all of that stuff. It takes a lot of regulatory know-how. It takes a lot of money. So just to bring it back to Withings, there's a lot of times they go to CES and they're like, here's our new product. And I'm like, all right, see you in 2 to 3 years, because you guys take a really long time. But they do go through it. They take a long time. A lot of times it's available in Europe where they're based before it is here. But, I think in 2018, they announced the Withings Move ECG, which was a kind of a smartwatch that had ECG on it. It's still not available in the US.
Yeah.
That's like 2018. So it's been 7 years.
It never will be.
It never will be. So, anytime you see that at CES, it's just
Kohler has been selling a toilet that tests your urine as well, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you got to get that too.
That
compare.
That is a harder installation, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, now look, if they want to give you one of the fancy Japanese toilets and install it in your house,
I love
you will
those.
take it. Oh, I do. I love those too.
So
I'm saying, if they want to give you one and pay for the installation and all that, I mean, I bet you probably would allow them to invade your bathroom and to do it.
I'd have to consult over the ethics policy.
Kohler's looks not just at your pee, but everything else. So that's horrible. More complete.
Well, I mean, yeah, again, these are things I don't want to know, right? Like on a daily basis or weekly basis. Like, again, if I have a medical problem and I need to monitor it, my doctor would go through it. But
that's the way to do it. And I think doctors think that too. I did the Prenuvo MRI full body scan where you pay $2,500 and it does your whole body. Which
I've been wanting to get.
I did it, but my doctor said it's fine. But he said, what we find is that people find out about things
that they didn't want to know about.
And then you have to do something about it.
Right.
And I think that most research shows you should wait until you have a symptom.
Well, that's what they typically say. But as someone who has spent the last, my husband has spent because he's a saint, but trying to get an MRI appointment for whatever I've done to my back.
Pay $2,500, but you said it's not accurate.
No. Well, because I asked and I was like, because I could use HSA funds and I was like, I will pay out of pocket. Right. I will whatever. He said it wouldn't be good enough. But the thing is I could get one of those easily.
I did it just because it's a baseline. That I have one. It's a baseline. Right. I found out some things. My wife and I did it. She found out she had actually have some tests, which turned out negative. But that's the point is you're going to find out stuff. Everybody's got something. Nobody's normal.
No, I found out some metabolic stuff through CGM testing that eventually I'll write up. But I found out some things that I have to go address and
then you have to address them.
Yeah,
and
in fact, my doctor, my health insurance stopped doing a prostate blood test, the PSA test, and they said the reason they stopped is that most of the time, anything we do to fix you is worse than the prostate cancer. We just don't want to know.
My father-in-law died.
Prostate cancer is a serious thing. Any male who gets to a certain age is probably going to get it.
Well, what happened? He had prostate cancer, and then that led to, I guess, just a few millimeter tumor or whatever that wound up covering the ducts of his pancreas, and that led to pancreatic cancer.
That's more serious, of course.
Yes, which obviously, and that's what he died of. And so
prostate cancers are very slow.
Correct, but the thing is that if things are in the wrong places and whatnot, and so I understand when they're looking at big masses of data, they want to act judiciously. expeditiously.
It's statistics. It's not you.
But there are also, but I also still bristle when I'm like, they're not doing certain tests. I mean,
well, I made them. I said, no, I'll do it. They said, all right. Well, what you have to do now is you have to read all this and agree to it, understand why we don't do it anymore. I said, that's fine. I did. And I said, yes, I agree. I signed. And I'm fine. But I thought it was better. I said, why'd you stop testing? You used to test every year for that. Yeah, we decided it's better not to know.
Right.
Really?
Again, I learned about this for the MRI that I need to get on what could be a herniated disc. It could be worse because I might need surgery and whatnot. And what happened, people who didn't see the pre-show, I have no idea what happened. All I know is I thought I slept on my neck funny. It exacerbated, continued. My whole left side, like I have, my arm is fairly weak. I have like numbness in my fingers and my legs.
Yeah.
And then it spread. I went to the spine doctor and he was like, yeah, you probably have a herniated disc at C5, in your lower neck. And we will, go through PT and whatnot. And I asked, I said, okay, well, how long until I can get imaging? Because I want to know how bad this is. And he was like, 6 weeks minimum. And then the next day.
Because it's so busy or because it's so expensive?
Both. And because, and this is really why. He said, usually we know what it is. We don't need to get the MRI, which, there aren't a lot of them, to be done to confirm what we already know. What happened, what changed things was the next day, the numbness, which had only been on my left side, spread to my right side. Uh-oh. Now I have movement, but my fingers, and
that's
even now,
like
my fingers, exactly. And so that's why I went to the ER, basically to force the hand of the medical establishment to then get my doctor to be at a point where he could write an order. He was concerned, and he's great. But then trying to even track down a place to get an MRI was difficult. And in my research on this, I read the exact same thing you did, which is that there are a lot of studies where they don't want people getting MRIs because in their experience, I guess it's kind of a holistic thing. It's like, A, people either don't want to know, B, it might not tell them anything conclusive that they don't already have details on, et cetera. And that's all well and good.
But you should have an MRI because you have symptoms that clearly.
Correct.
But this is the problem with health insurance in this country.
Yes.
It's very sad. This is the only developed nation in the world that has medical bankruptcy. We don't have good care. Which is not to say that in a nationalized insurance situation, you'd be able to get an MRI right away. You might be waiting 5-6 weeks for that too.
I might be, right? But in this case, like I probably wouldn't have had to go to an ER to get to that point where and I'm in the most privileged of privileged positions, right? Like I could not be more privileged. I have very good health insurance, offered by my company. I have HSA funds if I needed to pay for it out of pocket. I live in a city. I live down the street from 3 amazing hospitals, including like the one like level, 1 trauma center, like in like the, like Pacific Northwest, right? Like it's literally down the street from where I am. I've, very good.
So you have the best of everything.
I have the best of everything. And I still, and again, it's a miracle that my husband worked miracles so that I was able to get, an appointment quickly, but I still had to manipulate the system, not manipulate. I had to advocate for myself in this.
That's what you have to do.
That's just the U.S. healthcare system.
That's our
precisely,
system right
exactly.
there.
And that's
the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
And that was the thing. I knew that when I met with the doctor earlier this week, and I asked specifically about that, and I would have waited 6-8 weeks, whatever. It was the next day when the symptoms progressed that I went, okay, I can't just be, the
thing that bugs me is that every family has a story like this. This is so universal. We got to do better. I don't know what we have to do, but we've got to do better.
Well, we got to stop treating health like a commodity.
Yeah.
It's just
or a for-profit.
Or that's the thing, right? Private equity. I was having this conversation with my husband. Like, private equity has come in and has bought all these,
Look what happened with Amazon and Medical One, right?
Yeah, One Medical, who I go to and I still have good experiences with, but like, but it's beyond that. Like there are a lot of private equity companies that over the past like 30 years have been slowly buying up all these practices, and even in the last 10 years, like my dermatologist used to be that I saw in Atlanta, like they were bought by a private equity fund, who bought all of the chains and turned them into various things, and the doctors, their whole like their the things that they're rated on and the things that they are required to do are different because now there's a profit motive attached to it.
Right.
And there should never be a profit motive attached to medicine. If we really care about health in this country, if we really wanted to make America healthy again, then we wouldn't be making it a profit, a profiteering point. We wouldn't be trying to do that. We would actually be trying to, effectively solve people's problems. And sometimes that might mean less MRIs or, less blood tests. And that's fair enough. But, it should be up to the doctor's determination and not what some statistical analysis report is saying.
Exactly.
Or a wearable.
Or some
that, right. Or a wearable
that, what's his face? RFK keeps
Isn't it interesting? We're all wearing these wearables because we're trying to get better health, but we're not getting it from the people we really need it from. Christina, I hope it works out. I hope you get the care you need.
Me too. I'm going to, obviously, I will, I have good people who help advocate for me if I can't do it. But thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, hang in there. So nice to see you again. Welcome back to the world.
Very glad to be back. I've missed you guys.
Darkness that you were hiding.
No, I wasn't hiding. I had a great year, but I'm glad to be back.
Thing. Hey, you know what? DeepMind came to me and said we need a podcaster. I would go. I would go. I mean, what an opportunity to be right there on the front lines of something that's changing our world.
Absolutely.
I completely understand. It's great to see you again, though. Victoria, it's great to have you back. I hope we will get you back again and again. I just think you're fantastic. Both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Made this show so good. Thank you for being here. She's a senior reviewer at The Verge, and I will be looking for your review of the P-clam or whatever they call it.
I'll call it the P. I've been calling it the PP scanner, but I think I might call it the P clam.
I was going to say it does look like a clam. I think honestly,
it's just like a clamshell. I'm sorry, a little scallop in my toilet. Why is that a scallop in your toilet?
It's a step towards the Demolition Man future.
It is. This is the Demolition Man come to life. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Christina. Special thanks to, of course, Benito Gonzalez, our producer and technical director. Thanks to our club members who make this possible. Your support is very much appreciated. Club Twit is 25% of our operating costs now. That means without you, we would have to cut back. Fewer people, fewer shows, fewer club events. But thanks to you and the club, we've got a lot going on. If you're not a member of Club Twit, twit.tv/Club Twit. This is a good time. We've got a coupon for 10% off the annual plan. Great for gifting. Great for yourself if you want to gift yourself. There are lots of benefits, including access to the Club Twit Discord. Bunch of events coming up. In fact, Monday, we're going to have part 2 of the Horror in the Cornfield, our Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Dungeon Master Micah Sargent will lead me, Paul Thurrott, Paris Martineau, Jonathan Bennett, and Jacob Ward through the twisting corn maze as we try to get out the horror in the cornfield. That's 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 tomorrow for Club Twit members. Lots of other things going on. Our book club. We've got the photo assignments. I can go on and on. And of course, ad-free versions of all the shows. So please join the club, twit.tv/Club Twit. We really need you. We want you, and we're very happy to have you. And thanks to all our existing Club Twit members. We do the show Sunday afternoons, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. I say that because you can't actually watch this live. With all the swear words intact, we stream it on YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. We also stream into the Club Twit Discord for club members. We watch the chat. We chat with you in all of those platforms. So please join us for the live show after the fact. You can download copies of the show, audio and video, from our website, twit.tv. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to the video of This Week in Tech. There is also, of course, and probably the best way to get the show, you could subscribe in your favorite podcast client. There's an RSS feed. So subscribe and you'll get it automatically. Choose audio or video or both. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks to our club members again. And we will see you next week. But for now, another Twit is in the can. Bye-bye.
Amazing.